We are about to start. I would like you to introduce yourself so that it is on record as to who is present here this morning. Thank you.
Yeah. So I'm Dinesh Virakodi, Chairman of the Commission.
I'm Riaz Mila, Commission Member.
Naimuddin, Secretary, Minister of Investment Promotion.
I'm Priyat Vikram, Acting Director General.
I'm Kushan Kurtak, Member of the Commission.
I am Mahinda Patmalal, National Audit Office, Senior Assistant General.
Sorry?
I am Mahinda Patmalal, Senior Assistant General, National Audit Office.
Samudika Jayaratna, Deputy Auditor General.
That's correct.
I'm Chandani Veerasinghe, Chief Accountant, Ministry.
I'm Dinusha Jayavira, Legal Officer, Ministry, Investment Promotion.
I couldn't hear you.
Dinusha Jayavira, Legal Officer, Ministry of Investment Promotion.
I'm UK Bandara, Additional Secretary, Minister of Investment Promotion.
I am Sujeeva Rajapaksa from BDO Partners, Engagement Partner of this audit.
I'm Gerard Dias, Consultant Audit, BDO Partners.
I'm Ruan Karunaratna, Director Finance, Port City Economic Commission.
I'm Bimalendra Rajat, Director General, Department Trade and Investment Policy.
I'm Vindhya Veerasekara, Director Legal and Corporate Affairs of the Colombo Port City Economic Commission.
So, Rohan De Silva, Colombo Port City Commission.
Dimantha Kinigama, Director, Port City Commission.
Sudat Prasanna, Additional Director, Foreign Exchange Department, Central Bank.
I'm Rukshana Jayathilaka, Additional Director, Bank Supervision Department of the Central Bank.
I'm Minoka Vikramasinghe, Director Legal of the Central Bank.
I'm Kushan Samarthunga, Senior Manager IT, Colombo Port City Economic Commission.
Revan Vikramasuriya, Director Banking and Compliance, Colombo Port City.
Are there any excuses today? There was a commissioner seated at the back. Would you mind coming in front, please? Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Saleh Vikramasuriya.
Mr. Saleh Vikramasuriya has informed us he will not be able to attend. He has sent a letter and we accept that for personal reasons. Who else? UK. Who else? Is that it? That's all. Anyone absent? Any absentees, Mr. Secretary?
No.
Announcements by the Chair. Honorable Rauf Hakim has been appointed as a member of the committee to fill the vacancy occurred due to the resignation of Honorable Mujibur Rahman from the membership of the committee. A confirmation of minutes of the 17th and 18th meetings of the committee. They have been circulated. Okay. Somebody propose? Second? Okay, thank you. Business of the day, regulations under Colombo Port City Economic Commission Act number 11 of 2021, published in the Gazettes Extraordinary 2299/46 and 47, dated September 28, 2022. Before we start,
Mr. Chairman, can I say something before we start?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Before we start, is there anything that you would like to bring to our attention, please?
No, just I want to say something. The last meeting, unfortunately, I was on leave, so that's why I couldn't attend the meeting. And what is this? You had raised two issues. One was on the website and the accounts. And I'm pleased to say that those two issues have been resolved. So I thought maybe it's better to say that at the start of the meeting so that we don't get into a debate. Yeah, with a positive thing. And also, for the record, I must say that most of these commissioners are working pro bono. So that day, actually, we were given that letter one day before, right? So that's why we couldn't. I would have others found some way of coming for that meeting. So please, please accept our apologies.
Your apologies are accepted, Mr. Chairman. I'm really glad that we were able to push you to get this done within a matter of 4 days, which was delayed by almost a year.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for finishing the audit. Thank you very much for having an online presence.
Thank you.
Excuse me, sir. I also want to apologize myself. That day, by mistakenly, Salia said since April I was appointed, but I was not participating to any meeting. That's incorrect. I was appointed in March, and since then I have never missed any commission meeting. And I was chairing management committee meeting every week. I was attending every week, day to day, and I'm working voluntarily to the commission, sir.
Right, Dr. Vikram, thank you for that. I have a question that is arising from what you just mentioned. How many commission meetings are you supposed to have in a year? Is it specified or is it
every month? Every month.
Every month.
Every month.
So since when 2000, say last year, how many commissions meetings did you have?
Except during the change of the chairman and December, we had every month meeting.
So we had 10 meetings.
Yes.
Is that, and this year you had one or not?
This year we are going to have a meeting tomorrow.
Right.
Today, sorry.
Right.
Today.
Right. Anything else, members, you want to raise from last? It's a positive no. Can you submit to us or have you submitted to Parliament the audited accounts?
And it is addressed to President, and from President's office it will come to Parliament.
Auditor General, just one moment. Auditor General, now what is the procedure when an audit is completed?
Yeah, we have to submit the audit reports together with the account set to the relevant minister. To the relevant minister. In this case, relevant minister is the President. That's why we have submitted the opinion to the President, and we have submitted another 4 copies to the Commission also.
Right, so you have actually submitted it to the minister in charge, who happens to be the President.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
No,
So when
to submit to the President or the event that the subject minister.
First priority is President.
Or the subject minister.
Appointed that him as another minister, that is to the minister. That's
okay. Okay, right. Sorry, somebody was saying something.
That's what I said, yeah.
Because the commission is appointed, 7-member commission is appointed directly by the President.
President.
Yeah. Arising from the discussion we had last time, we raised the issue on the shareholding structure. Right? We asked that question. Would you be kind enough to explain to us the factual situation? Well, the question was, who owns the Colombo Port City Economic Commission? That was the question.
So may I?
One is the commission, which is the regulatory body that stands. It's directly appointed by the President with a chairperson and a DG.
Yes.
7-member commission. 5 to 7.
Yes.
One can, if you want, you can go up to 7, maximum 7. So that's the regulatory body. I understand this because it's almost like the UGC, you know. Right, yeah.
So the difference was, is UGC or any other a corporate body corporate?
Yes.
Now this is a body corporate, is it?
Yes.
Yeah. So since it is a body corporate, the question was, the commission shall, by the name assigned to it under subsection 1, be a body corporate. So whether, if it was a body corporate, we looked at the constitution, the interpretation of a body corporate, and that was the contradiction we had. So please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Chairman, so the commission, as you correctly mentioned, is a body corporate as set out in section 3(1) of the Act. And under the Constitution, 170 says, if the capital is partly or wholly granted by the government, it is a corporate body. And the government has granted the Colombo Port City Economic Commission land, which is the Port City land. In 2021, August 12, the President granted it. That forms the capital of the Commission, sir. So therefore, we are a public corporation in terms of 170 of the Constitution.
Thank you.
What we could do under this commission?
So the Commission's objectives are set out in the Act, Port City Economic Commission Act.
That is how you differ from UGC and any other public corporation. You have a special privilege.
That's
Honorable Raghavan?
Yeah, they while they are in the nature commission, they differ from two others. One is like a human rights commission. This is not like this. They are being, I don't know why the word commission came there. This is kind of a small technical issue there.
Even BOI came as a Colombo
That's
Greater
right.
Economic Commission.
Yeah, so, but that commission, same word used here, has a different connotation. While you are appointed by president, but this also acts as a company, under registered company limited. So
It's
you
a
have
business
dual,
entity.
Yeah, so you have dual thing. One is your policy maker itself on one hand, and then you are monitoring the business itself. Now, for instance, UGC and Human Rights Commission are the two different bodies.
That is correct, Honorable Member. That was the confusion.
That's right.
So this is now clear. Thank you, because all this time this clarification was not made. This is the first time this clarification is being made here. So while it is a commission by name, it is in fact a corporate entity.
Yeah. That's right.
That wears a dual hat of like a chairman and a CEO, or regulator and a player.
There, Chairman, if you permit me, since we are on the same topic, there I see a futuristic danger, because you make your own principles which are supposed to be monitoring, and then you also are the implementing body, right? So there can be intra-contradictory interest, you know, I mean, we have seen this. As we grow, there can be new challenges. Secondly, with last week's judgment, the Act Chapter 3.20 is in question now. It says, this commission is not liable to any of the local or foreign court cases, any of the commission members. They are freed from this.
Well, I mean, Honorable Member.
But then I'm just lighting it. You may have to work on that, because last week judgment, it said the new 7-member judge bench said no. We are bringing in new, there's a particular technical word for that.
Which one is
that will be implemented in Sri Lanka. So one can cite you later. You be careful. One can cite you and say.
Honorable Member, now the first clause is the commission is a body corporate with perpetual succession and a common seal and may sue and be sued in such name.
Yeah, that's right. That is then being counteracted, like all our acts. Chapter 3.20 counteracts that.
Sorry, I'm not sure of what you're referring to. What you're referring to? What
It says
judgment?
all commission members are.
Which judgment is this?
No, the Acts Chapter 3.
Yeah.
Point 20, clause 20 says, all 7 members are unliable. I don't know what's the word unliable. You know more English than me. Unliable or non-liable? Immunity, right?
Yeah,
okay.
immunity.
From any case that we arise, for negligence or all those matters, either a local court or a foreign court.
AG's office. Can you educate us on that, please?
Anybody?
I think in my knowledge, first one refers to the
No,
commission.
I was just referring to the AG, Deputy Solicitor General. Oh, sorry. Who's from the AG's office?
නෑ මම කියන්නේ ඒක ඒ ක්ලාස් එක තියෙන නිසා ඔයගොල්ලෝ ෆ්‍රීඩම් එක යට වැඩ කරන්න මොකද එක්කෙනෙක් කියන්න පුළුවන් අන්න අර ජජ්මන්ට් එකක් තියෙනවා 7 member ඒක නිසා ඔයගොල්ලෝ ලයබල් කියලා. ඒක ඔයගොල්ලෝ ප්‍රවේශයෙන් වැඩ කරන්න.
Avanti, Dr. Avanti Pereira, Dr. Mrs. Avanti Pereira. Where is he? Can you call and find out where she is? Please, thank you. Yeah, we will come back to that.
Yeah, that's something we have to check. You know?
So let's get to the meat of the business. So what we have done, our analysts basically went through the regulations and prepared a note for our use. What we will do is we will share it with you so that we can just follow that. Some of it are self-explanatory and we can just say yes and no, move to the next one. Some have some clarifications that need to be made. You all got that copy, right?
Not.
Where is the copy?
Hard copies ගෙනෙන්නේ නැහැ කියලා කියනවනම් අපිට announce කරන්න අපි laptop ගේන්න. I like that.
Yes, so we will bring the laptop.
ඒක දාන්න බෑ දෙකක් දාන්න බෑ screen එකේ බලන්න බලන්න එතකොට හරියන්නේ.
Oh, pull on. Where are the hard copies you made? Then
ideally we should have sent them earlier so that they could have also had.
Yeah, we decided on that just today. No, might as well just take a look at it so it's easy. Everybody's on the same page.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
Hikma Khan.
Give one copy to him. Yeah. And one copy to her. One copy to her. One copy to her.
So we look at the /46 gazette, right? So what this gazette does is it provides, legislation provides a breakdown of the application process for persons interested in conducting business within the port city and the Economic Commission's capacity and process of accepting and I guess approving such applications. That's what it is, no?
Yes.
These set of regulations?
Yeah.
Correct. So part 1, license obtaining procedure. After submission of an application, a letter of approval is provided in principle. Commission to act as a single window investment facilitator. Once all legal and regulatory requirements are met and the Commission is satisfied, license will be granted. License is valid for a period of 1 year, correct?
Yes.
So this is the basic thing that you want to do. Now the comments are, is there a timeline for the evaluation process for an application once it is submitted to the Commission?
Chairman, sir, the timeline hasn't been defined, right? Because it's going to be dependent on the complexities of the project that's coming in. But when we did our benchmarking studies, we've sort of identified that certain types of industries, certain types of businesses, approvals are given within relatively very short time frames. Whereas what we define as secondary investors, if you're a primary investor coming in to get buy a plot of land and then do a development, those types of projects would generally take longer.
Do you have any specific tools, what kind of business are you going to promote?
The idea was, sorry, if I can come up on the presentation, I think the chairman of the committee had requested for a presentation. Is it possible to put this up on the...
Yes, it is. It's on that screen.
Oh dear, very small.
It's too small.
Too small, sorry about that. Anyway.
My fear is that otherwise it will happen the same thing like in BOI.
No.
You will end up in having all sort of businesses which are not necessary for making any profit.
Absolutely, sir. So I think when the commission was established or the special economic zone was established, the idea created here, unlike in Sri Lanka has a long history of special economic zones. It's nothing new to this country. The idea of creating the Colombo Port City is a special economic zone that's focusing primarily and solely on the service sector, right? We are looking at transforming where everything else is heavy manufacturing, etc. And this was the focus. So there were a list of what is defined as thrust sectors also coming from the Act. They come from international trade, shipping, logistics, banking, corporate headquarters operations, regional distribution centers, then of course tourism, retail operations, retail industry, of course education and healthcare services, etc. And professional services. So
not any longer the financial hub or whatever.
No,
the
financial hub
offshore banking is mentioned even in the Act.
Yeah, it's there.
It's there.
No, I mean, earlier it was named as Colombo Financial whatever.
No. Now it has changed and it has gone little beyond that financial center concept.
The scope is much broadened.
Yeah, much broadened.
On the issue of the process, now Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka and Telangana and the new state, they also have these promotion schemes. No? When I when I read their process, it says that you are number of steps. Once an individual or a company applies, you acknowledge your application, first of all. You say, we have received such date and give a file number, whatever. Then you give within 1 week there, saying that this is estimated time of processing. So that person, because if you have to take environmental authority, but then of course, the act says that this area is a different area. It's a particular area which the laws, that's why the debate, parliament debate also came. For instance, environment, do we have to get environment authority clearance if there is a project that's sensitive, let's say hospital, so waste management comes, right? Medical waste management comes. So does the existing law applies to the same zone, or the zone has its own laws?
If you don't mind, Honorable Member, we come to that later
Right,
on.
okay, sure.
So shall we just,
Process,
yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. So should you have some timelines defined, or you don't think it is necessary?
When we come through the benchmarking study, so when we came up with these two regulations, the application form and the fee structure, there was a benchmarking study that was done, right? We started initially with 8 special economic zones and jurisdictions globally. We narrowed it down to 4, right, when we went down to the deep dive. And the 4 that we narrowed it down to were DIFC and the Dubai Multi-Commodity Exchange based in the UAE. And then, of course, Singapore and Mauritius, which are more jurisdictions. When we looked at these, they don't really have a time frame set in place. But when you look at these instances, generally speaking, within about a week, the approvals are given, and it is.
But then, if I may, right?
Yes.
I mean, Singapore and the Mauritius, they are actually the entire thing is special economic zone. No?
Correct.
Right. So there are no two conflicting laws. Right. It's one and the same, isn't it? Now you are not looking at a financial center inside Singapore, no?
Yeah. Okay.
You are looking at Singapore.
Correct. The benchmarking study looked at Singapore.
For the country of Singapore. Right?
Yes.
And then you are looking for the country of Mauritius. The state of Mauritius. So I mean, there are constitutionally defined or whatever the existing legal infrastructure or the laws that define these things. As opposed to, say, the DIFC, right, which is an entity within the UAE.
That's correct.
Right? So there may be 2 different sets of laws that apply to DIFC and the UAE.
That's
however
correct.
liberal the UAE may be, right? So my point is, why do you not compare like with like? Right? Singapore and Mauritius is one. Colombo is more like DIFC as opposed to Singapore and Mauritius.
No, last year,
Chairman, actually we took DIFC and DMCC actually for the main comparison, but took Singapore and Mauritius to get some of the inputs into the studies. Yeah. But basic comparison goes with DIFC and DMCC.
Dr. Priya, with I'm not an economist, I confess, right? So I don't try to, there are economists here. But reading into this, just reading, not studying, Poland seems to have, the last years, the Economist Intelligence Report has recognized Poland as the European model success. They give awards, right? The Polish model seems to be very close to us because the Poland country is socialist. Now our constitution says we are socialist. Therefore we have all the other rights of the 158 rights I think workers have. But then they create this port separately in order to go with the new world globalized market. So how do they manage these two? The parliament is dealing with the same thing. I think it will be a good term of reference or case study for you.
We'll do that actually.
Why don't you do that?
Sure, we'll do that.
On that.
Yeah, we'll
but I just want to. I'm sorry, you are Mr. No.
Revan. R-E-V-A-N. Revan.
Revan.
Vikramasuriya.
Mr. Vikramasuriya, could you tell us whether you want to have some sort of timelines or not? That's our question.
We have.
We should look at a scorecard. Don't measure anything. It doesn't get done. So I like that idea. So
okay.
We'll that.
And we have created a portal that can do that. So it's defined as a workflow. So that entire workflow can actually happen within hours. So as long as, because it's all you have to do is to make a decision, yes or no decision. And then moment that happens, it gets connected to the ROC, to
it's roll on.
All the other places. So I mean, the benchmark, I believe why we couldn't do it within 48 hours for a secondary investor. The primary, of course, we had to look at lots of other things, but for a secondary investor who wants to start a headquarters or whatever, I think within 24 hours, we should be able to approve.
Mr. Kodituaku, that's an excellent suggestion. I mean, I think you should look at it and see whether you can. Because when we started thinking about this, I recall the first meeting we had with PwC, the consultants at the time. What we said is, if we can be in the top 10, let's do it. Otherwise, let's not even think about it.
Yeah. So
right? So you have to have a completely different way in which we do things
and a
here.
template.
Huh?
Mindset and a template.
Yeah, because, I mean, if this works, then we can apply what works to the rest of the country. Right? So we must aim at the very, very top.
Absolutely, that's what we did, Chairman. We told ENY was supposed to be the one who was going to do our process. And they gave us the process workflow. And the scope that we told them is we want to be the best, or number 1, 2, or 3 in the world in ease of doing business. And if we can't get there, we would hold ENY responsible. So that's the scope, because since we are starting with a clean sheet of paper, there is no reason why Sri Lanka can't be number 1 in this. As long as
I completely agree with you, and I think that's kind of the aim that we should have. Yeah, so let's work on that, and let's look at some timelines, let's look at this transparent thing, and like Mr. Chairman said, you can come up with some internal guidelines. It doesn't have to go into a gazette.
You may also look at case studies. You have an international marketing and research team.
We have consultants. We actually work with PwC and EY. Yeah.
Romania and Colombia and the Latin American bloc. I was just, because I am speaking to a professional body, I need to at least read and update myself. The last 2 years in Latin American bloc, Romania and Costa Rica and Colombia had got the awards. So you may study there later, so that we work with the winners, right? So
we'll do that.
We can go up from that platform. No?
We'll do that.
Okay, so the next one, let's move to the next one.
The president wanted us to look at Canary Wharf and the Docklands also. Yeah, to get some inspiration.
Yeah, so next one is there a special fee applicable for a company that is to obtain a certificate of registration?
No, there's no any special fee. They have to pay only one fee.
Was that something that was raised for, why was it raised?
No, I think there were 2 issues, Chairperson. One was the amount. The Act says 1% of the investment will be the overall, I don't remember the page now.
But that is when we lease the land allocated for check, we get 1%
and then we
out
had
of
this
that.
$4,000 or $400 first payment, and then I think the question was, what is the rationale that we came? Is it
this is not that.
No, this is not that.
This is not that.
This is about the application fee. Fine.
One payment that is apart from, in addition to 1%, which is
it's
separate.
a latter part. It's a latter thing. It's a latter issue.
That's a separate.
Yeah. Does the
the
process application?
There is
or something like that.
Yeah.
That's a block fee.
It's a block fee to start processing. So once you send the application, they have to send an application fee.
Yeah. So next one. Does the resubmission happen only after a letter of approval is initially issued? There's a follow-up to it. Because the word amend is used, implying that already prior to the resubmission, a letter of approval was issued. And now, after the resubmission, the issued letter of approval was amended accordingly. Or is it possible that a resubmission can be done before a letter of approval is issued?
So this actually comes after the initial process. They want to change something after the initial process only. This comes in, sir.
So is that all right? The representative from the AG's office is here, right?
Yes.
Right.
Since the numbers are small, how many applications we have got so far after the initiation of this?
7, right?
No.
7.
Yeah.
For a period of?
Sorry?
For a period of?
We've got about 7 parties that have shown interest. Yeah.
Within the period of 2 years since its operation?
No.
Maybe after Gazette, after May last year.
Last year May.
Yeah. Because initially we were doing nothing like we were preparing tenders, consultants, and all.
Right.
After May,
after May, of course, I'm surprised that even you got 7 applications because we were going through turmoil. No?
Yeah.
So there is no need to change this. Is that fine? Yes, please.
So what it means is approval in principle is granted at a approval in principle is granted upon the application submitted by the applicant. And before the license is granted, if he wants to amend any particulars, this is the resubmission we talk of. Actually, we've adopted the DIFC process here.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Then the next one is 5E3. We are going in the order of the Gazette. In what capacity and how does the Commission check the accuracy of the details provided? Especially, shouldn't this phase be carried out prior to issuing a letter of approval?
Chair,
For example,
I have a comment on that. Once you finish.
for example, in the application, it is sufficient to provide that the authorized person submits details of the 10 largest shareholders if the authorized person has more than 10 shareholders. How would the Commission determine the truthfulness that the details provided are pertaining to the 10 largest shareholders? This may happen if the applicant is an offshore banking or an offshore company to withhold information for some reason. Or, for example, how would the Commission determine the accuracy of the past records, convictions of the application? Or, for example, how would the Commission determine the accuracy of the financial performance details provided by the applicant? Would a separate audit be required or one that has already been carried out to determine any malpractices or manipulations in the numbers? Or, for example, how the Commission determine the accuracy of the details provided in the education section of individual partners, etc.?
Chair, with your permission, I think these are valid questions, but the spirit of the Commission, if they are going to dig into this, they would not be able to even present and approve a single application, because these are beyond our capacity. So what we do is, what Telangana does is, they get a signature saying any of these details found to be wrong at any given time, nothing will be given and they have to pay a penalty. It's like it's a law in passive law, active law. If you take the active law side, we have to do all this, and they may come out with again. Then we have to have kind of, I don't know how we are planning. I mean, you said your consultancy is very good idea, 7 members, and my suggestion is don't have more than 25 members to work for your commission full time. I have UGC.
We have actually 11.
UGC has 75. My ministry has 385. All that we are doing is supposed to be policy making.
It's
Anyway,
only 11.
so ඒක නිසා chairman මම කියන්නේ අපි ownership එක දාන්න ඕනේ applicant ගෙන්. applicant මොන හරි වරදක් කරලා තිබුණා නම් we null and void.
ඒක තමයි දාලා
ඒක
තියෙන්නේ.
legally අසං කරගන්න.
Absolutely, because these are some of the flaws that we found that in the act it says to go this way.
Yeah.
But if you do this, we can't get our ease of doing business right to the top.
Could we invite the AG's department representative also to come in front so that, you know, she can, yeah. If you don't mind, please. Yes, go ahead. Yes. So therefore, you're just happy with the way it is structured.
Yeah, but I'm not sure while I'm looking
Yeah.
for that. I mean, now the authority is here.
Yes, if
But
he-
do we have that legal clause that any given time we find?
Yes.
Right. So then I think it's covered.
Right. But then, along with that, this next question arises. In the register which contain details of the authorized person,
Which
right,
section are
which
you
is to be maintained by the Commission, is
Chair,
in
which section are you reading?
the same point in the note. This is
Part
8D in the Gazette.
In the Gazette, okay.
Yeah, 8D, right? We are going in order of the Gazette. So, is information such as share register of the company accessible to people to inform who the ultimate owners of the company are? These are generally accessible to the public under the Companies Act, which however doesn't apply for authorized persons conducting business in the port city. This may become a concern for offshore companies due to the possibility of money laundering.
Yes, so there would be a register which would be accessible, and that would be accessible electronically, and that would have the details of the applicant and the shareholders, etc.
So it is open to the public?
That is,
Just
yes.
like the company's
Correct.
details, one can get
Chairperson, with your permission, there are other independent international watchdogs whom you have to subscribe. Then you can access their database and find out whether these companies are blacklisted and what problems they had and what kind of things that they did. I think those are small fees, like paying to a library reference. You pay them so that when you are, while you are doing business, you check with your team, research team, whatever, and then if they are found to be, you...
Yeah, so that is due diligence that usually happens.
Yeah.
So KYC.
But some are not published.
No, you know your customer.
KYC. essentially, no?
Yeah.
Right. Then, then general conditions, part 2, register with details of authorized persons conducting business is accessible to the public to the extent determined by the Commission. That's what you're saying, right? For any change in the details shown in the application submitted, the licensee has to submit a form within 30 days of the occurrence of such change. Maintain and prepare financial statements on an annual basis, and after approval of financial statement, annual return has to be submitted. So that is what the regulations say. The questions are, should the register containing details of the authorized person have a standard format rather than it being at the full discretion of the Commission? How will the register be available to the public? Now that has been established, right?
Yeah.
So the first one is up to the Commission to decide how, in what form it is published, or is there some standard format?
It's basically the applicant's name, the applicant's address, a registered address, the shareholders of the shareholders of the authorized person, etc. So it is there would be a template, and every applicant, the details of every applicant would be accessible online.
And with the numbers, with the registration numbers.
Correct. Do you have a description of the nature of the business they like to do?
Yeah, they have to submit.
Part 2 of the profile.
And actually they have to submit, otherwise they cannot get the incentives. Okay, there's a categories, so to fall into that, yes.
Now in India, of course, a bigger market, they have their own national watchdog groups, volunteer watchdog groups. Whatever the information you give, they are investigative. They go after this company and then inform you and say, no, hey, there's a red flag. How about this? This company, many of the, so I think maybe, there are activists who wish to
come, all these things
will fall in.
Come into play, yeah.
Whether we should encourage that, university final year students and professors who are...
Do we have to emphasize on those? I mean, first of all...
Now the biggest struggle would be to get investors. So let's work on it and be a bit flexible. I don't think that we will have all sort of tougher regulation.
Yeah. So, I mean, we are just trying to help you here, right? We are just trying to make sure that, you
will get maximum investors.
Right? I mean, let me reiterate, we want this to succeed, right? And it is in that spirit we are doing this. How long will the Commission take for reconsideration and issuance of all amended documentation and make changes to the register? So once again, is this about timeline issues?
Internally, we actually have set up, we have to finish everything within 48 hours. Even actually, for the clearance also, we have set up a model now. Yeah. So those things, internally, we have benchmarks. Yes.
Okay. Then on these records, financial statements, right? Records are open to inspection by an auditor or the Commission. Records. If there are discrepancies, what would be the next steps?
There's another regulations to come with penalties.
Yes, there is another regulation.
It's in here?
Not yet,
sir.
it's
We
coming.
are finalizing the document.
You're drafting more regulations?
No, it comes with penalties, sir.
Okay, so to answer this question. Yeah. Okay. Part 3, interim provisions. So the Commission will grant permission under Part 3 in writing to allow authorized person to conduct business at an appropriate outside the CPC. Right?
We call this CPC.
CPCC.
Bad omen to start with, no?
Right.
It's Colombo Port City.
Right. So the original thinking was infrastructure is going to take time, and then you can rent a tower in the city perhaps, and then start business. Yes.
Initial 5 years till
Yes.
2024.
So the question is there a criterion that qualifies an authorized person to conduct business in a designated approved location? So, I mean, would you would define, or would the applicant say, look, yeah.
They can choose. They can choose the location.
Now, let me ask a practical question. Let's say the applicant is on the 25th floor of the WTC, right? And then people who are working in the 25th floor don't have to pay taxes. They are paid in US dollars. People on the 27th floor
has to pay.
Has to
pay. Has to pay.
Yeah. So, in terms of sort of managing labor and, you know, the distortion in the labor market, you know, particularly, Mr. Chairman, you are very much an expert in this field. How will that be dealt with? I mean, if you go beyond that, even after the Port City Commission is fully established, on this side of the Gold Road, you have to pay 36% tax. And you are subjected to whatever the inflation rate is. On the other side of the Gold Road, you are paid in US dollars and you pay no tax. So suppose you are a waiter at the Kingsbury. Why would she want to remain at the Kingsbury as opposed to moving across the road, and perhaps even getting a job at the McDonald's probably will be better off?
So, Chairman, I had a conversation with some of the agencies on this issue because some of the big guys are interested in setting up an office there because of this, because they can pay their staff in dollars. So what they said was, what they told me was they will structure HR policies where they will hire the top talent, the key critical talent through that through the port city, so that they can handcuff them over a period of time, given the fact that we are losing good talent continuously. So I think we have to leave it to the company to plan and design their own HR policies to manage that. But I agree with you, there can be a fallout, especially within the labor structure.
But isn't it also modified? The spirit of that isn't it?
Mr. Honorable Bandar.
Now, having too many rules and regulations, we have always missed the boat. I don't think that we should look for tougher. You know, I mean, we are not in a.
You know, they are neither lawyers nor prison officers.
Right. So therefore,
we must leave it to the companies.
Yeah, that's what I am trying to say. You know, I mean, having too many jurisdiction.
Real policy implementation from them.
No, I mean, let us ask the AG's department for a clarification on this. I mean, equal rights, are they being sort of tampered with here, or?
Reasonable classification, and that's the basis on which even under the BOI companies has exemptions. So the Port City was considered in the same light. So, but these risks we were alerted to, and that, as was discussed, would be a matter of policy, how each individual company will try to find ways to maintain their staff and not.
Definitely, it will be happen in such a way.
Yeah, that is a
because if the investors are coming from different part of the world, aren't they?
And here, sir, everybody has to bring dollars from outside to do business. Otherwise, they can't do anything. Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is an important point, because if it converges towards the top end, the dollar salaries, it's okay. Because it's a market. It's supply and demand. But what if it converges downwards? What if it converges downwards? I mean, you have an accountant who is paid 400,000 rupees in the fort, and you have an accountant who is paid, $100,000 on the other side, right? I mean, there is going to be demand and supply. So,
later we can debate on this. But isn't it the whole spirit of this?
That will bring dollars to the country.
Isn't it the spirit of this whole thing? Now you say, let's say you are CIM, another person CIM. You manage to join a company which pays you in dollars.
No. So
isn't it the market competition that we are talking about?
No. So that is why we are talking about sort of the distortion in the marketplace, right? I mean, markets can be distorted by various individuals, companies that have their own rules. I mean, this is not just happening here; it's just happening in other places.
But over a period of time, I mean, you are the Missouri professor on this market thing, so I will agree with you. But I'm saying that the competition that comes is by step injecting, and that's the whole restructuring of the organically.
Competition is ceteris paribus, no? That is, everything else remaining the same. Everything else is not. I'm just raising a question, Honorable Raghavan. I'm just saying, because normally in economics you assume that others remain the same, and you're actually trying to focus on one matter. In this case, others are not remaining the same. So it is not your typical competition example. This is not so. These are two separate markets. So all what I'm saying is keep that in mind, because that is certainly going to be an issue in time to come. So as long as you have addressed that and have thought about it, then I'm okay with that, because it's a policy matter, not a legal issue.
And the bottom line should be that dollars come into the country.
The bottom line should be that our people get better jobs and better salaries. So as long as it's converging towards the top end of the market, that should be okay, as long as it doesn't go down.
I think looking at the world politics, I wish if it happens, but I don't think tomorrow morning you are going to get 500 applications now. So there is time frame. We learn as we go.
So, Mr. Chairman, I think your point is valid, but I think Sri Lanka is over-regulated. And I think we should leave it to the companies, I think. That's my humble opinion.
That's the point that Professor Bandara brought in.
Right. So are there any criteria? I mean, can somebody set up his or her office in, Anuradhapura and say, this is where my office is, but interim for 5 years I'm going to be here? Or do you say it is within the Colombo business district, or is there some eligibility criteria? Or?
We don't need that. We don't need.
In this act doesn't say anything.
As long as money comes from overseas.
No.
That says outside area of authority.
So, but then how do you regulate this? I mean, let's say you set up an interim office in Anuradhapura, right? You're operating out of Anuradhapura. I mean, is there a mechanism to ensure that all the regulations are being adhered to?
Definitely, sir. Every year they have to come to us. They have to show all the details properly, auditor accounts, everything. Otherwise, we will not extend.
Annual, no?
Yeah, it's license. It's only annual.
No, this is not the license. No, this is to operate.
Yeah, so if they have no license, they can't operate in the next
No.
year.
No. You get a license to operate.
Yeah.
Right now, say you want to run some company in Port City. Port City infrastructure is not ready, but you are operating out of Anuradhapura, and you are saying, give me a license to operate out of my premises in Anuradhapura, but with these tax benefits. Okay? With these facilities. So the question is, if you are remote, far away, what is the way in which you monitor that person is adhering to the regulations of the Port City Economic Commission? That's the question. Yes.
So what the Act says is under section 64(1), an authorized person can function outside the area of authority as an interim measure in a location designated by the president or the subject minister.
So that is a question I asked. You all said something else? No. That is a question I asked. And then you said no. You said they can operate out of wherever that office is currently located. And when I asked whether it can be...
It has to be.
When you say interim period, is it specified?
Yes,
5
it is
years.
specified, says.
So
5
then
years
you
from
can't
here.
operate out of Anuradhapura unless the president specifies Anuradhapura.
Unless the president or the minister
Minister
of
subject has
shared
to-
powers with the commission.
So
the
that was
commission can decide that.
No, that was a question. That was a question. The answer was incorrect. If you admit it was incorrect, we can...
So you have basically you have a control over, you grant the permission for them to operate in which location. That would come with your ability of supervising and monitoring them, whether they are adhering to the prima facie criterion that the chairperson is asking about.
Sir, that's correct, but the location will have to be designated by the president or the minister in charge.
Minister or possibly the commission,
No, it says
It's
the
a
minister.
minister.
So the minister has to designate, let's say for example, Shangri-La Tower or World Trade Center or the new John Keel's building or something like that. If it is designated
Yes.
only in those places, so you, unless Anuradhapura is designated, you can't operate at Anuradhapura. Thank you. Then, right, so that was a question. So that eligibility criteria is determined by the minister in charge, and that, so that can be monitored. Then the part 4, extension of licenses, section 24 in the Gazette, 28 in the Act. What is the timeline for license renewal process? Is a late applicant for license renewal able to carry out daily operations during the time in which the license is being renewed?
Yeah, I think.
License renewal processes.
So you encourage them the 11th month or the 10th month to apply. You give them and you send a proactive notice to them, right? Depending on your time. I mean, these are basic common sense, no? But if they don't comply to that, then their onus is on their side because they are not applying.
They can't apply.
So every 10th month you generate an auto alarming to them and requesting them to apply and keep to the criterion.
So then it...
Proactively. You have to do that proactively.
Yeah, it's within the system, sir.
Okay.
So then what it means is, then they cease to operate, cease to function if the license is
not
obtained by the...
Yeah, so you're assuming here if you apply in the 11th month, within the 11th month, you will approve it.
Yes.
If you make a mistake and don't approve it in the 11th month, then the onus is on you to let that person continue to operate. As long as that is legally possible, I'm okay. But it has to be legally possible because you are taking a big responsibility and you are saying you will do it. What if something happens? Your computer system crashes. I don't know. I'm just saying, right? As long as that person doesn't turn around and sue you saying it was your fault.
Then, sir, we need to give a temporary extension, something like that. If there's a
So that's
situation like that.
yeah,
That will put it. That we will put it, sir.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Then you have
Surrender of
part
license.
6, surrender of licenses. So what that means is application to be submitted to surrender license. License will be cancelled if business does not commence within 6 months. License will be cancelled if business contravenes provisions or regulations. The questions are, who would monitor whether the authorized person will not engage in any other activity in the 3 months prior to making an application under Regulation 26? Is there a standard document to be filled for any person that may have cause to ensure the license is not cancelled?
Question is
not clear, no.
Question is not clear to you?
So surrender of license 26C, right?
Yeah.
What does it say?
Application to be submitted to surrender license.
So you have to apply to give up your license?
Yes.
You have to apply to give up your license?
Yes.
And
There, Chair, may I raise a question?
Yes, please.
And why?
With this, attached to this is that as I seen, I was interested in media, appointed to look into the media business. No. Now, transfer and resale of this license. You all are silent on this. Now, ex-applicant takes it and waits for about 2 years without operating anything, and the market grows, and he or she goes and sells the license. Now, this is what happened at Monarch. Now, all these 118 mini hydros license are taken, but mini hydros are only in license, and they are marketing, auctioning those licenses at Monarch upstairs.
Here, if you don't do anything within first year itself, license automatically will cancel.
Okay, right.
So
but can they, after taking 3 months from you, license from you, resell to a party? Take a silent method.
Because all the details of the authorized person, their shareholders are already given. So they can't sell to it. We have said there will be a separate regulation for that, for the process.
හරි ඒකලන් කියලා තියෙන්නේ ලයිසන් ඕන only can operate කියලා. නමුත් විකුණන්න බෑ ට්‍රාන්ස්ෆර් කරන්න බෑ කියලා කොහෙවත් මේක very silent මේක.
Yes, that's close. We have it. Yeah.
I will check.
Yeah.
They can transfer the company, no? So
They can
unless
transfer the company,
sold the
there is no
company,
provision.
then they have to change the...
And you can't impose a law. Like
No, we cannot restrict them selling the company, but they have to...
shareholders.
They must be shareholders, they must be at liberty to do that under the Tribunal Companies Act.
May I answer this? It is in regulation. Under Part 5 it says license issued to a qualified as an authorized person shall not be transferred. Is non-transferable and may not be assigned to any other party.
That's correct.
So the process for any transfer.
So there are reapplication and reconsideration. Yeah.
Company can be so.
That's allowed to.
Company,
Whatever whatever that can be done under the Companies Law is permitted.
Yeah. They can sell shares.
Yeah. Like a strange entity cannot come, but the same entity can operate as per the laws of the country.
Yes. And again, sir, then they will have to again give the 10 shareholders, chief shareholders, their names will also have to be disclosed.
They have to amend.
Yeah.
But it's permitted, as you correctly said, yes.
Why did we use 3 months prior to making an application under Regulation 26? Was there any reason for that? Included in the Gazette. What is the 3 months? That's in the Gazette? 26?
I think this is from DIFC. Can you do it? This is from DIFC.
In the back you are.
An authorized person shall not be entitled to make an application under this regulation if at any time in the previous 3 months the authorized person has A. changed its name, traded or otherwise carried on business, engaged in other activity other than those unnecessary, blah blah blah. Why is that 3 months? Is there a reason for that? Or?
So that came in from the DIFC regulations. So we don't want to see if there's a company established, right? A new entity established to come in and apply for authorized person license, right? We would like to ensure that has some history and it's not like a shell company created and immediately shareholders are changed. So that sort of comes in from a KYC and a due diligence perspective.
So in the original application, you don't call for like 3 years of existence or anything like that. Any startup can register.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
so
correct.
Why is the 3 months here then? What difference does it make? If a startup can apply, why do you want to have this 3 months clause?
Name, trade, yeah.
Changed.
So if a startup is there, it's a startup. But then the question was, okay, a startup comes in today. In 1 month's time, they change the name, right? Yes, we understand you can go and create another legal entity with that new name, right? So this is to do some checks and balances as to why those names are changed within such a short period.
But then we were just told that you can do whatever you want within the Companies Act. In the Companies Act, you can change the name, change the directors, change anything you want. So why is that? Why are you discriminating a company like that?
We can, again, this came in from the studies that were done on the due diligence, but it can be looked at and your concerns are noted and we can go back to advisors and have a look at it and see the validity of it.
Point,
Yeah.
no?
Yeah.
You're saying startup, you come and then you are asking 3 months.
The 3 month period.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just look into that and see
Sure,
that
we'll
it is fair to every corporate entity.
And does not cause unnecessary hindrances.
Yeah.
26.
Is there a standard document to be filed for any person that may have cause to ensure the license is not cancelled? What does that mean? That means you applied to, you can't just take away the license. Is that what the point is here?
Yeah, as I understand, this is very clear at the beginning of the application itself. Once the license is granted, the renewal of the license, ownership is largely on the investor. But we proactively we agreed to send messages to them by the 10th month and say, you are due to apply now. So they prepare and bring. If they don't do that by the, let's say, 1 year and two weeks, for some reason, power cuts or some reason, they can't give a grace period, then they are willfully not applying.
Well, I mean, that is not specified in this
ඒක තමයි.
set of regulations. I mean, you have to be clear, no? I mean, that's all. I think the point is very...
and all those things will
So
come.
we'll move to the next one. Surcharges and fines. In the event of an offence under this Act, the Commission will determine whether to initiate legal proceedings or in lieu of proceedings with legal, the authorized person may be fined an amount the Commission may think fit. Right? So the question is, should the surcharge and penalty amounts be specified rather than being at the discretion of the Commission? If a party involved in business wants to lodge a complaint against an authorized person and requires legal action to be taken, will this also be decided by the Commission?
So, actually, these regulations are being drafted now, the surcharges and penalties. It will be coming.
So don't you need those in approved now?
You have to have a time frame now and get it done, no? Otherwise...
We are
okay.
for commission.
These regulations...
No, what I'm saying is here you are talking about penalties, right? Now, what you're saying is you're drafting the regulations on what the penalties are. So if an investor, a serious investor is looking into coming in, he or she might want to know what those penalties are, in fact, to have certainty, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
When can you all, what is the target date?
So all the regulations would complete by Q1 and Q2.
Q2, that is May.
No, not these.
These are...
AG office is aware that they are asking your opinion?
No, not Q2 as in the other. There are about 24 regulations to be published.
Okay.
So these were the priority.
So are they at the AG consultation level or at your legal department? Where are they?
In the process
It's final stage
Positive
of draft.
AG office?
And then to the legal draftment and then goes to the Gazette.
Yeah, so how long? We know the normal process of this. No, it may take even 2 years if you go by the... Because AG office is redundant with so many other things. So priority basis එකේ දාලා deadline එකක් දෙන්න මේකට නේ. නැත්නම් තේරුමක් නැහැ නේ chairman කියන එක ඒක ඇත්ත. දැන් එක්ක apply කරන්න ගියා නම් එයා අහනවා මම මොකක් හරි වැරදක් කළා නම් penalty එක කොතනද තියෙන්නේ කියලා. ඒක නැත්නම්
I'll submit you the status report of all these regulations.
Okay.
We have actually gone through everything.
Yeah.
So by first quarter, all the necessary regulations other than to management of the city.
Yeah.
Management of the city, there are few set of regulations, but there's nothing to manage at the moment. Those regulations will be delayed, but the rest of it will come before first quarter.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, let's
Cha,
go to the next.
Just couple to that. Now let's say penalty isn't contested. You are imposing $50,000 or whatever, $100,000. It's been contested. Which court does hear this?
So, sir, under the Act, port city matters are held on a priority basis in a dedicated court that is already provided in the Act. So we are in discussion with the Ministry of Justice to have a court dedicated to hear.
So parallelly, there are a lot of things happening, no?
Yes.
Otherwise, one wheel stop means the whole machine can stop.
So it's being fast tracked. So we will have a magistrate's court.
You know the thing here, honourable member, is will there be international sort of jurisdiction on this? Or is it right? Now, if you look at Dubai, Dubai has a certain legal structure, but DIFC is not subjected to those Dubai laws. So I think it is British English law that applies.
London commercial courts.
Yeah, completely.
So this was there in the. So this was there in the original act, but when it goes through the process, most of the conditions related to this was taken.
That's hypothetically, touch wood, bad luck should not come upon us. A investor who is saying, no, I will not pay you. Come to London commercial court and meet me. What are we going to do? We don't have...
සභාපතිතුමා මේක ගැන මේ කලිනුත් මම ක්වෙස්චන් එකක් මතු කරා මේ විජේදාස රාජපක්ෂ මහත්මයාට. එතකොට දැන්ට මේ වගේ ප්‍රශ්න සම්බන්ධ විසඳන්න කමර්ෂල් හයි කෝට් එක දාලා දැන්ට ට්‍රයල් 10000ක් යනවා. එතකොට ඒකම අපිට ease of doing business වල නෙගටිව් පොයින්ට් එකක් වෙලා තියෙනවා.
ඒ නිසා තමයි මේකේ මන්ත්‍රීතුමා කියලා තියෙන්නේ වෙනම කෝට් එකක් දාන්න කියලා.
ඒකත් දැනට අපි එහෙම මේ මොකක් හරි ප්‍රොපෝස් කරන්න ඕනේ. ඒ කියන්නේ මොකක්ද කියලා. ඒ කියන්නේ එහෙම නැතුව අපේ දැනට තියෙන DC matters ගත්තොත් high court දැන් commercial high courts ගත්තොත් මේක නිසාම අපේ රටට investors ලා එන්නේ නැති bad attraction එකක් වෙලා තියෙන මේ
already
ඉතින්
international arbitration center එකක් තියෙනව නේද?
නෑ ඒකත් අපි බැලුවා ඒකත් දැන්ට ඩිසෝල්ව් කරලා ඒකේ බඩු
ඒක නෙමෙයි අපි මෙතන set up කරන්න යනවා ඒකත් දැන්
වටිනෝ දැනට තියෙනවනේ
but it's only for arbitration but when it comes to legal action it's the dedicated commercial court especially for Port City but I don't know how the process will go on and have a special
court. World
court.
Trade Center එකේ තියෙන arbitration center එකක් තියෙනවනේ.
ඒක දැන් almost close we are going to.
ඒක තමයි දැන් ඒගොල්ලෝ ඒක තමයි ගිය සතිය අපි ඒක ගැන කතා කරා අපේ කමිටි එකේ. ඉතින් ඒකත් තවම decide කරලා නැහැ මොකද්ද කරන්න කියලා. ඒ කියන්නේ එතන infrastructure එක හදලා අවුරුදු ගාණක් rent එක ගෙවලා කිසිම
අධිසුකෝපභෝගී.
ඔව්. ඒක ලන්ඩන් වලත් නැහැ කියලා කියන්නේ වගේ එකක්.
AG office, I mean, with permission of the chair, what would be your suggestion to them? Because they have an arbitratory body, but legal implementation is not in their hand. But at least this arbitration body can be strengthened and say, okay, we have 2 containers and there are 3 fellows seated here. Any point, please visit them. But if it's going beyond that point, then legal entities. But I think this is a serious area. You all have to work parallelly and get your. What would be your suggestion?
National Commercial Dispute Resolution Center under Section 62.
Yes.
And then it says under Section 63 that priority to be given where legal action is in. So that is the only recourse here.
So who would determine priority?
So by operation of law, the courts.
So everything else pushed back. If there is a Colombo Port City matter comes to court, then that has to be taken up first, is it?
Appears to be so in whatever it says. Priority shall be given by courts in relation to that.
එහෙම ක්‍රමයක් නෑ. ඒ කියන්නේ මේ cases file කරන විදියට නෙන්නේ. නමුත් මේකට
මෙතන කියනවා ඒගොල්ලෝ මේ නීතිය යටතේ විශේෂ වරප්‍රසාදයක් දෙන්න කියලා ප්‍රමුඛතා කරනවා.
එහෙම කරන්න බෑ. එහෙම වෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඒක නිසා මේ dedicated court එකක් courts මොන හරි
ideally
තමයි කරන්න කියලා suggest කරේ. මේක අපි මෙන්න ලොකුට කතා කරා මේ මැටර් එක ගැන. ඒකෙදි department එකේ කවුරු හරි සම්බන්ධ වුණා. ඒ කියන්නේ එහෙම නැතුව දැන් ඊට පස්සේ මේ lawyers ලා කවුරුත් කැමති වෙන්නේ නැහැ මේ cases file කරන date එකට file in විදියට නේ cases අහන්නේ.
No, even when we suggested that as it is a day-to-day basis, lawyers are not, the private bar is not agreeable, not just with this
prioritizing
law, but generally day-to-day trials are not.
Then the best thing is you to have your special courts maybe inside the port city.
Courts.
You know, that is the ideal situation
but
to go.
When we go into
Otherwise,
this
no
issue
point,
of
waste of
judicial
time, people
power
are not
and
coming.
Article 3-4, that was what we were trying to avoid. Try to explain to court, because otherwise we would have had to go for a referendum if someone argued that this judicial power is going to be restricted of the.
ඔන්න මෙතන ගරු මන්ත්‍රීතුමා
අපේ සජෙෂන් එකක් දාලා වෙනම අපි කන්සල්ටේට්
ඔබතුමාගේ කමිටි එකෙන් අපිට එකක් එවන්නකො. දැන් මොකද මම හිතන්නේ මෙතන තියෙන එක වැදගත් කාරණාවක් තමයි ජාත්‍යන්තර ආයෝජකයෙක්ට විශ්වාසයක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ නීතිය සාධාරණව ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙනවා කියලා. ඉතින් ඒ නිසා තමයි ඩුබායි වාගේ රටවල් මේ ඉංග්‍රීසි බ්‍රිටිෂ් ලෝ එක යටතේ ක්‍රියාත්මක. ඉතින් ලංකාවේ මේක කරන්න බෑනේ.
ඔබතුමා දැන් බලන කොළඹ ඩිස්ට්‍රික්ට් කෝට් අද මේ මොහොතේ ඉන්වෙස්ටර්ස්ලා බිස්නස්මන්ලා කී දෙනෙක් ඉන්නවද කොළඹ ඩිස්ට්‍රික්ට් කෝට්ස් වල මේ වෙන විට අද දවසේ ඒක ලොකු බෑඩ් ප්‍රැක්ටිස්.
I mean what honorable member is raising is a very important matter. So I think you better we will monitor your progress. So next time you come for regulations, you better tell us if there is any better.
Beyond our we can propose, but government, we can propose.
Take case studies from countries which are very close to Sri Lanka. Singapore is a city state and it has its own culture and all that. If you take that, it has never had strong trade unions. But this country we have already. He being a liberal economist, he is worried about the market competition. Worried means he's concerned about it.
No,
because the nature of.
I'm a social market economist.
Okay.
So just 1 minute. So there are 2 things I believe in. One is market liberalism.
Right. We will have
wait. Since you made the comment, that is, individual freedoms, markets, competition. Other one is political liberalism, which is social equity and justice. So if you want to develop this country, both these things have to come together. So that's the way I look at things. Thank you very much. So
Chairman,
we have to move on. We have to move on.
Chairman, just
Just one moment. Yes, Honorable Member.
Chairman, I'm so happy that we have learned something from yesterday's
I explained it to those people yesterday. Yes, go
Just
ahead.
one point, we have also approached the International Chamber of Commerce to see whether we could get them to set up a branch in Colombo, so that some of these disputes can be resolved through them, because it's much more effective
No, I
and
mean,
faster.
so alternate dispute resolution is something that, and we don't need to, we know the importance of that, right? So there has to be confidence in the legal system. That's all. No? As long as that's there, then it's okay. So shall we move to those are all the questions, specific questions that we have done, the regulations in that gazette. There's a second gazette. We have one or two questions. One question. The second gazette is on the fees, right? The gazette provides regulations for registering and licensing fees for persons authorized to conduct business within the port city. Types of fees: application fee $2,500, alteration of information submitted $100, annual fee $2,000, fees for extracts $100. The question is, how do these fees compare with fees taken by SECs in other countries? Are these rates competitive? Refer to section 3. So we have looked at some others. I can't find section 3. Application instructions state that until the electronic system is made available, application and supporting documents have to be submitted manually. How long will it take for electronic system to be made available? This will directly affect ease of doing business. Will information be digitized on a centralized information system? So, yes, please.
Yeah, so on the point of the fees, Chairman and other members, again we come down to the benchmark jurisdictions, right? When you look at DIFC and DMCC, which as you all rightly pointed out earlier, these are the key zones we need to look at. These fees, they initially charge about approximately $200 for name reservation, as we call it there. And then the company incorporation and licensing fees would range from anywhere between $1,700 in the case of DIFC to about $8,000 US. In Dubai Multi-Commodity Exchange, it can go average approximately $12,000, right? We have strategically priced our point lower than that, with the interest of understanding and being aware that DIFC and DMCC are institutions or special economic zones that have been in operation for nearly 2 decades now, right? And they are sort of what we would call mature markets or mature zones. So we have sort of priced ourselves slightly lower than that. I've also known your Schedule 3 talks about certain countries, Bangladesh, India, Indonesia, etc., Oman as well. I've just quickly glanced at that, and we would compare the benchmark jurisdictions of Mauritius and Singapore were the other two benchmark jurisdictions. And yes, I think some members are looking at the presentation. There is a slide on this. These countries, of course, they sort of range from about $200 upwards for setting up a company and registering a company. Our fees of $2,500 is slightly higher than that. But as the chairman mentioned, those are countries as opposed to special economic zones. And that's why our fee point is slightly higher than that.
It's just a question. I mean, if you looked
No,
at
I
it
think
and you are
they
satisfied
have
with
looked at
this.
it and then you all can share your findings, no? Our research team?
They
got it. So you can also, I don't know, I normally go by the independent indicators who award internationally what are the best ports. So if you look at them last 5 years, what they have done and what they have omitted, we have a learning curve there. I think it is published already, if you don't want to pay. Now one thing I just want to clarify myself here, now the Commission's initial operational fund, the 400 million or whatever the number, was supposed to be set aside, but then we didn't have money. The project company advanced that to you all. And then you all repaid it.
According to the Act,
Yes.
Project Act itself defined the initial investment value by
That's
the
right.
project company,
Yeah.
and it
Okay.
says they can deduct everything before they pay the rest of it.
Right, right.
So it's so that is what we
Yeah,
did.
so now let's say we are taking off. Where will you get your money if there are no application whatsoever? I know all of you all are working voluntarily. Thank you very much. In a situation where country is experiencing extreme migration, you all are staying back because you have interest and to develop this country. Thank you. But then you can't do charity every day. What is the alternative method? Other than borrowing from a local bank or going after the treasury, how will you survive? What's your scenario plan?
We actually have two other models as well. So there's a duty free to come in. So and there you get a top line revenue, not bottom line. It's a top line revenue. So at the moment also we have certain applications to be processed. So and there are few investment also to be happen. So I think for this year we have money to operate throughout the year. So within this year,
you work voluntarily for your remuneration, but you have to drive your car, you have to have a rent on a place.
We don't take anything at the moment.
මට දැන් බයයි ඔයගොල්ලෝ එහෙම වැඩ කරද්දී. මොකුත්ම ගන්න නැතුව වැඩ කරද්දී ටිකක් බය වෙන්න ඕනේ.
We were looking for a sort of a input from the Aegis department earlier. Is now the ownership of the commission is with the state. This is fully so in terms of the interpretation of a body corporate according to the constitution, right? So the Colombo Port City Commission is a corporate body owned 100% by who? The sovereign?
Sovereign government.
That is what it is. Yeah. So there are no other shareholders of this. It's completely owned.
That's how the account is reflected. Basically, government of Sri Lanka enterprise. Equity is only government.
No, why is it partly? This is a fully state-owned entity.
Fully, 100%.
Sri Lanka is equity.
100%.
volunteer කරනවානේ අර ක්ලාස් එක තියෙනවා 3:20
මේ can I
එතකොට ඔයගොල්ලන් ගන්න තීරණ වලට පස්සේ කෙනෙක් කියන්න පුළුවන්ද AG office අපි volunteer වැඩ කළේ මෙතන අපේ පෙට්‍රල් ගහගෙන මේ වැඩේ කළේ ඒක නිසා මේ වැරදි වලට කිසි දෙයකට අපි වාද කියන්නේ නැහැ
එහෙම කියන්න බෑ you can't say that.
So those are the two specific sets of questions we had. Yes. Then we have some other general questions. It'll take maybe half an hour or so. We go through this, right? So in the in section 4, clause 4 of the Act. Before we go to that, section 2(4). The Commission shall be responsible to facilitate, prepare, develop, amend, update, publish and enforce all community rules.
Within?
Yes.
Within
sir.
Yeah. So have you done that?
We have actually prepared the community declaration. So now it's at the final stage. We'll declare that maybe that goes to the second quarter, sir. Second quarter.
So what happens? An investor and his family and all those live within will sign a charter.
Yeah.
And they will be abide by that set of charter. Okay.
Yes.
Then the Commission shall submit to the President or in the event subject minister an annual progress report setting out the progress on the implementation of the master plan. Now the question is, have you done that for last year?
So first 6 months we have done. Then now we've completed the second 1 year. So we'll submit it. Now we are preparing it.
නෑ ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් මේක මේ 2022 වර්ෂයටද
2022ට තමයි සබ්මිට් කරන්න තියෙන්නේ 2021 first 6 months we had and anyway we every month we update it so we have that report with us.
Dr. Priyat, there I would like to see what I have seen in our parliament. Some state-owned bodies are giving their annual report after 5 years.
We don't want to do that.
Yeah, so you are right now okay, but when you get busy and then there are documents that are pending from other departments and other bodies, you will say. So therefore, I would say you also bring for your own internal discipline that within the second quarter of the following year you will submit this. By law, you are then you can down operation you can push that.
Actually, we have a chronological order from day one. Every month we update.
Right.
So the activities we do, so then we can extract easily from that. And
Right. So
I
in
can share that even if you want.
661G, මේ ප්‍රශ්න ඉස්සර උත්තර ලැබුණෙත් නැහැ. ඒ කියන්නේ ඔන්ලයින් එකෙන් තමයි ඇප්ලිකේෂන් දාන්න ඕනේ කියලා. දැන් ඔන්ලයින් නැත්නම් ડોකියුමන්ට්ස් අතින් බාර දෙන්න ඕනේ කියලා. දැන් ඒක how long will the commission act as a single window facilitator through an online presence? Have they developed a system? The system archives the information applications for purpose of digital record keeping and for reference purposes.
The system actually is ready, sir. I think if you, I think you got the link. We have not published it because of certain. We need to get the approval for the forms and all to go ahead with the dynamics. Statics, it's all now up. Dynamics, we will push in after we get the clearance.
දැන් මේකනේ මේ රෙගුලාසිටි එක අද මෙතනින් approve වුණොතින් කෙලිම පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට ගිහිල්ලා ඊළඟ කලිම දවසේ ඒක මේ සම්මත වුණායින් පස්සේ එතකොට ඒක මේ නීති අනුකූල වෙනවා.
Even sir, today we can log then show you. We can launch.
එතකොට එහෙනම්
statically කියන එක කියන්නේ launch කරන්න
because we cannot launch. We have already launched the.
හරි.
හේතුව නිකන් වැරදි අදහසක් සමාජගත වෙලා තියෙනවා. ඔයගොල්ලන් වෙබ්සයිට් එකක් මේක.
No, it's all ready since last.
අපි දන්නවා ඒක. You are doing a good job. නමුත් ඒක ගැන කියන්න. ඒකට හේතුව අද මේ traditional media වලින් එහාට ගිහිල්ලානේ මේ සමහර කාරණා පිළිබඳ වැරදි පතුරන්නේ. So at least you communicate in such a way that everything is ready, that you are waiting for the right time.
I must confess, because I was at the last meeting and I attended to this commission throughout, this committee. Last time when we sat here, maybe since you two were not here, the information that was coming were erroneous.
True.
So therefore our response was also not friendly to you all, because we went on the data that we got. I must confess that we are not enemies to you, neither we are relatives to you. So let us do a professional job. That is my plea all the time.
Thank you.
හරි ඊළඟ එකට යන්න 6J. What is the capacity of expertise of the Commission to develop and approve environmental standards and execute environmental improvements? Develop and approve environmental standards.
We have a consultant who's capable of doing that. We don't do anything, sir. We take all consultants with the capabilities.
ඉතින් ඕකට දැන් environmental standard හදන රජයේ environment CA එක තියනව නේද?
CA මේකේ law එකේ හැටියට sir මේකට වැටෙන්නේ coast conservation department, sir, because we are within that zone.
ඉතින් ඇයි ඉතින් coast conservation එකත් එක්ක වැඩ කරන්න බැරි?
So we wanted to have, sir, international standard level sustainable policy, so that is why we work with the consultant.
So shouldn't you
we need to submit after that to the
මං කියන්නේ coast conservation එකත් සම්බන්ධ කරගත යුතු නැද්ද?
Definitely, sir. After we prepare that, we'll submit it to them and we'll work together with them, sir.
Right. Okay. Then 6A පොඩක් ඉන්න 6M.
කරු සහෝදරතුමා දැන් එතන පොඩි ගැටලුවක් අපි අයිඩෙන්ටිෆයි කරා. දැන් ඔයගේ ෆ්‍රීලාන්ස් කන්සල්ටන්ට්ලා ගන්නකොට මේ ආණ්ඩුවේ
it's not freelance, it's paid.
නෑ හරි. ආණ්ඩුවේ ආයතන ලොකු ඊගෝ බැටල් එකක් කරනවා ඊළඟට මේක හොඳ නෑ අරක හොඳ නෑ කිය. ඊළඟට පත්තරවල දානවා මෙහෙම සල්ලි කෝටි ගාණක් ගෙවලා අපේ මෙච්චර ඒක නිසා ඒ තියෙන ગેප් එකත් ෆිල් කරගන්න වෙනවා. මොකද නැත්තම් අපි අයිඩෙන්ටිෆයි කරන ලොකුම ප්‍රශ්නයක් තමයි ඊගෝ එක.
දැන් මන්ත්‍රීතුමා අපි ඇත්තටම coast conservation department එකත් එක්ක සෙෂන් කීපයක්ම තිබ්බා.
That will be the bottleneck.
අපි ඒගොල්ලොත් එක්ක සෙෂන් කීපයක්ම තිබ්බා.
රජයේ නිලධාරීන් අප්ඩේට් කළා මේ අපහාස කරනව නෙවෙයි. හැබැයි ඒගොල්ලෝ පිළිගන්න කැමති නැහැ අර දින දැනුම. ඉතින් ඒක නිසා ඒවා සමහරවිට මාස ගණන්
විශ්වවිද්‍යාල සහ කුලක පෙරදිනිය එක්කෙනා කැමති නැහැ මොරටු එක්කෙනා කියන එක අහන්න කොහමද?
මේක ඔෆ් කරලා දාන්න. මේක බලන්නේ නැහැ නේද? මේ අරක ඔෆ් කරලා දාන්න. So මේ ඊළඟට M to
you combine to work with them, no?
To cooperate and enter into agreements with international financial and business centers, regulators and other bodies, institutions, organizations and persons for the achievement of its objectives and the exercise, performance and discharge of its powers, duties and functions. එතකොට මේ enter into agreements with international finance and business centers, other bodies කිව්වහම organizations. Can you enter into agreements with foreign organizations? What do you mean by that? And මොකක්ද ඒකේ අර්ථය මොකක්ද?
May I?
Yeah, you can.
Yes.
So Chairman sir, this is when you see in the space of special economic zones, you would have one special economic zone entering into a memorandum of understanding with another international zone. So for knowledge sharing purposes, to sharing best practices, etc. Because if you read section, and you're on M, am I correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so it looks at and persons for the achievement of its objectives and exercise performance. So
ඒක හරි ඒක අපිට තේරෙනවා මේක catch all phrase එකක් තියෙනවානේ institutions organizations and persons කිව්වහම සියලුම දෙනා එක තව රජයක් එක්ක ඇරෙන්න ඕන කෙනෙක් එක්ක agreement එකක් ගහන්න ඕනේ. ඒක රටේ තියෙන නීතිය සමග ඕකේ ගැටුමක් එනවාද කියන එකයි අපිට දැනගන්න ඕනේ.
I think, but the yeah, yes.
Knowledge management.
So that's how the commission looks at it.
නෑ නෑ මේක MOU නෙවෙයිනේ මේක agreement කිව්වම shall we ask
I think
yeah. The M
subjected to AG officers vetting
6M.
Odd. It's not something that captured the scrutiny of the court, but if you apply the sort of the jus generis rule, it's all financial business centers, regulators, then other bodies means those in that sort of framework.
Exactly.
It relates to them. But yes, if we all are going to enter into an agreement, necessarily it will have to come to the Attorney General's department.
You have already a legal person.
We have
no? So
legal.
they send the draft to AG office and get an opinion.
Right.
Whether it's contradictory.
Then 6A අරකම extension එකක් on the report, annual report, an annual report on the operations, income and expenditure of the commission to be placed before parliament.
That definitely.
ඒක තාම වෙලා නැහැ.
Yes, ඒක will come, sir. Then now
ඒක
already sent it to
21 වර්ෂයට.
So 21 මාස 6යි sir තිබුණේ.
නෑ නෑ 21 වර්ෂයට පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට ඉදිරිපත් කරාද ඕගොල්ලෝන්ගේ මේ ඇක්ට් එකට අනුව මුදල් වාර්තාව සහ ආදායම් හා වියදම් වාර්තාව කොමිෂන් එකේ නෑ නෑ 21 අවුරුද්දට ඒකනේ අපි එදා ඇහැව්වේ දැන් ඒකනේ ඔයගොල්ලෝ කිව්වානේ 21 අවුරුද්දට මේ ඔඩිට් එක තාම ඉවර නැහැ කියලා.
Yes, we finished the audit and we have sent the audited accounts to the relevant ministry.
දැන් ඒ කියන්නේ ඔයගොල්ලන්ට ඒකනේ එදා ගත්ත ප්‍රශ්නේ මාස 13ක් තිස්සේ ඔඩිට් එක ඉවර නැහැ කියලා. එදා ඔයගොල්ලෝ ප්‍රශ්න ගොඩක් කිව්වානේ. BDOද මොකද ඒක ආයතනය ඒක කරේ නැහැ කියලා. දැන් අපි ඒකේ සභාපතිතුමාට එන්න කිව්වානේ. දැන් ඇවිල්ලා ඉන්නවානේ අපේ මාජන බැංකුවේ සභාපතිතුමා, BDO එකේ සභාපතිතුමා. දැන් ප්‍රශ්නේ ඉවරද?
Yeah, so it has been audited and signed off also. Now it has been sent to the president and the ministry.
I mean,
Chairperson, lessons learned. Why did it get delayed so much?
Actually, can I'm the auditor.
Yes.
Now, what happened was we were appointed somewhere in March, and there were a lot of clarifications that both parties have been asking, especially from the Institute of Chartered Accountants also, which took about 4 months at least, because the land ownership and things like that. And in the meantime, my firm has been in constant touch with the Auditor General's department, Deputy Auditor General called one Mr. Vimal Ratna. It took a little longer time, but anyway, now we from our side, there was no delay at all. So that we finalized, and then we submitted whenever, because we were supposed to have the final accounts for us to do a perfect audit.
නෑ ඒක තමයි අපි එදා කියපු දේ නැවතත් කියන්නේ. හරි දැන් මේක එච්චර හොඳ දෙයක් නෙමෙයි. හරි ඕගොල්ලන්ගේ ඔඩිට් එක දැන් මාස 13ක් පරක්කුවේ. එතකොට කවදාද පාර්ලිමේන්තුව මේ ඕගොල්ලොන් මේ පනතේ තියෙනවා පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට මේක වහාම ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න ඕන කියලා. එතකොට පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න කවදාද කියලා අපිට කියන්න පුළුවන්.
Mr. Chairman, if I can respond.
Mr. Mueller, yeah.
The delay was because of how to treat land. Now that problem has been solved with the 21st year audit. For 22 December year-end audit, I don't believe we'll have any delay at all. We can even give the accounts. My request to the team is that by 4 months after the year-end, the audit accounts will be done and dusted.
So tell us, we are Parliament, right? You are supposed to submit this to us.
Yeah.
What was the issue with the land?
No, there is a complication. If you give me a minute to explain.
Yes, please.
There is a land which has been reclaimed by a project company and given to the government free of charge, and the government has vested that with the commission. And then in that land there is certain plots, 44 plots, which has been given on a 99-year lease arrangement to enable the project committee to monetize that. So the question was, at what value do you account for the land in the books? Because now that the government has vested the land in the commission, it has to sit in the commission books. The project company has spent, as of December 2021, 1 billion rupees. Now it's gone up to 1.2, right? $1 billion, sorry, $1 billion. Now it's gone to 1.2. But as of December, 1 billion. The question was, what figure do we put into the commission books and give credit to the government for the amount of 1 billion? Yeah. Now the question was, because 44 plots were assigned to the project company to monetize.
What's the extent of the 44 plots?
116 hectares. 116 hectares.
So therefore, under IFRS, we took the right of benefit that they can get. We eliminated that and took the balance portion, which was some 63% value, to the books of commission. So commission officially can monetize from its own plots that it has, that balance part, because the 44 plots monetization will go, or the economic benefits will go to the project company. So that was the confusion. When they wrote to the institute said, look, you know, this is, it has to be commission has to take a decision. Yeah. So when I got involved in the commission, then after that I sat with them and we went through, we had a meeting with the auditors, BDO as well, and we clarified, and now we have cleared that problem. That problem shouldn't arise anymore. All which will happen in 2022 is that $1 billion and $59 now will go to 1.2 billion, because now they spent another 150 million. So that will be all that is done, because the accounting is now clear. There is no more clarity to be obtained, and the AG also has accepted the treatment. So
the
I don't see any delay in the 22 accounts. I am confident that within 4 months we should be able to give the accounts audited to the minister.
හරි දැන් එතකොට මගේ ප්‍රශ්නේ තියෙන්නේ කලින් සඳහන් වුණා මේකේ ආරම්භක ප්‍රාග්ධනය කියන්නේ රජයට අයිති සම්පූර්ණ මේ ඉඩමේ වටිනාකම කියලා. දැන් ඔබතුමා කිව්වා ඒකෙන් 100 හෙක්ටයාර් 268න් හෙක්ටයාර් 116ක් ඔවුන්ට මොනිටයිස් කරන්න පුළුවන් කියලා. ඒ කියන්නේ සින්නක්කර ඔප්පුවට විකුණන්නත් පුළුවන්ද මේක?
බෑ.
අවුරුදු 99ට
අවුරුදු 99 lease, they have a master lease for 99 years, sir. So they can lease
renew the lease.
දැන් අපි හිතමු මේකේ බිල්ඩින් එකක් හැදුවා කියලා ඇපාර්ට්මන්ට් එකක්. ඒතර ඇපාර්ට්මන්ට් එක free hold විකුණන්න පුළුවන්ද?
What happens if a different investor comes in? The primary investor has to give that lease back to us. Then we'll sign a new lease with the new investor. So if it is apartment, they can, it's according to the current law.
99 years.
99 years.
From the second signature date.
It's like in Dubai,
it's according to the current law. So condominium law applies here, sir. Condominium law.
හරි. දැන් හැබැයි දැන් මෙතන තියෙන condominium law එක apply වෙන්නේ මට දන්න විදිහට ඒක පුද්ගලික ඉඩමන්නේ.
No sir.
දැන් මේක රජයේ ඉඩමක් නේ. දැන් කියපු විදිහට මේක 100% රජයට අයිතිනේ මේ අකර හෙක්ටයාර් 269.
So this law applies to UDA lands as well. When UDA leases it to someone else, they can build an apartment and sell.
එතකොට රජයට තියෙන
then they have to pay the value of the outright.
එතකොට දැන් මේ අයිතිය යම්කිසි අඩුවීමක් තියනවාද? දැන් නැත්නම් ඒක ඒ විදිහටම පවතිනවාද දිගටම? මේක 99 වසරකට ලීස් එකක් දීපු නිසා.
ලීස් ගියොත් sir ඔක්කොම ලීස් වලින් යනවා. හැබැයි apartment ගියොත් sir according to the current law you can get the ownership.
value එක ගන්නන්නේ
capital එක erode වෙනවද?
capital එක තියෙන්නේ sir yeah sometimes yes capital erode වෙනවා.
capital එක erode වෙනවනේ.
එතකොට monetize වෙලානේ sir එතන.
ඔව් monetize වෙලා. හැබැයි capital එක අපිට තියෙන ඉඩම විතරනේ වෙන මොකුත් නැහැ.
වෙන මොකුත් නැහැ sir. ඒ ඔක්කොම යන්නේ UDA same model UDA එක යන්නේ ඒකම තමයි.
Explain the accounting. See, once you bring that 63% is the land in your books. And let's say that somebody builds an apartment under UDA law, you do it. What we have done is some of the land will go out and then we get revenue that has come in and the surplus will go into reserve. So it's the asset getting converted into revenues and going into reserve in the balance sheet. So, and we also did one more check under IFRS. We saw what was the value of the land because we had to do an impairment test. the valuation that we have got for our portion is $2.6 million. So there is no need to impair. So it is, we have put it at
2.6 million.
Billion. That is the value, because we had to do an impairment test assessment to see whether the value we have put in the books is adequate. Our value is much lower than what the market value is. So at any time we can always revalue the land at any time.
So what is the market value of the 269 hectares, Mr. Mueller?
If you
According
take,
to this, about 4 billion.
It's about 4 billion.
4 billion.
According to this,
That is
about
the
4
value. If you take what we did the valuation of the two,
So
what
4
the
billion,
government portion.
okay, 4 billion. So I'm just asking a question because I do not know. What is the value of this land as it now stands?
If you take market value, 4 billion.
But without any buildings, just the land.
Without buildings. Without buildings.
4 billion.
$4 billion.
Dollars.
But accounting, we use the cost convention. So we only
එතකොට
look at the
පර්ච්
cost
එකක්
income.
කීයද වැටෙන්නේ?
Oh, you have to divide by
පර්ච් එකක්
200.
බලන්න කීයද වැටෙන්නේ කියලා?
Because part of the land, Mr. Chairman, is for the government owned, also includes parks and the common things. So
Non-commercial,
they are not
non-commercial land.
marketable. So
Selam-
for the government has, I think, 27 plots which are marketable. The Port
28
City has
plots. 28 plots
and the
government
Port
can
City has
sell.
44.
නෑ ඉතින් මෙතන දැන් මේ පාක් තියෙනකොට මේකේ අගේ වැඩි වෙනවනේ කොහොමද? පාක් නැත්තම් අගේ අඩු වෙනවනේ.
Absolutely.
හරි එතකොට මට එතකොට ඇවරේජ් එක මොකක් හරි ඕකට ඇඩ්ජස්ට් කරන්න පුළුවන්.
We
Yes,
can
sir.
easily.
දැන් රෆ්ලි කීයද එන්නේ? ඕක 4000
About
රුපියල්
$4,000 per square meter, like
පර්ච් වලින් අපි ගණන් හදන්නේ කොටුවේ.
If you divide
ඇතුලේ meters වලින්,
Two-
square meters
you
වලින්.
divide,
latest is.
නෑ අපිට දැනගන්න ඕනේ පර්ච්
divide
එක
4 billion by 269 divided by 116 to 4. You have the calculator. You can
have a calculator.
If you say how many purchase in a
නෑ හෙක්ටයාර එකක් කියන්නේ අක්කර 2.6යි නේ.
Purchase 400ක්.
ඊට පස්සේ
Purchase 400ක්.
අක්කර එක තියෙනවානේ පර්චස් 160ක්.
purchase 400ක් සර් හෙක්ටයාර එකක් කියන්නේ.
160
ඒක බෙදන්න කොට අක්කලා 370 වැඩි කරලා.
I have a calculator. Okay. I'll do the calculation.
කවුරු හරි මට කියන්න.
Accountant. Come and rescue us.
I'll do the calculation.
We'll see what it is.
Yeah. 4
divided
I think my estimate is about 20 million. Golden Mile Lake.
Oh, it's come around 37,000
USDs.
USDs.
37,000.
නෑ නෑ අපි මට දැනගන්න ඕනේ සිම්පල් පර්ච් එකක් රුපියල් කීයද ඕකේ?
37,000 into 380.
ඒ ගාන හදලා කියන්නකො කවුරු හරි පර්ච් එකක් කීයද ඕකේ?
දැන් මේකයි මම හිතන්නේ I had to leave now. Chairman ගේ question එකේ ව්‍යංගාර්ථය
13.7 million.
Come again? Sorry.
13.7 million.
Oh, the chairman ගේ ප්‍රශ්නේ ව්‍යංගාර්ථය මේකයි. Golden Mile එකේ මේකට අයිති නැති ඉඩමක වටිනාකමට වඩා මේ ඇතුලේ තියෙන ඉඩමේ වටිනාකම වැඩිද අඩුද කියන තමයි මේ අහන්නේ.
හැබැයි මේ සර් අරන් තියෙන්නේ public areas උත් එක්කම අරගෙන value.
දැන් ඒ කියන්නේ සාමාන්‍ය
13.7.
කොටුවේ පර්ච් එකක් කීයද?
ඒක තමයි අහන්නේ. Golden Mile එකේ කොටුවේ 20 million.
නෑ ඊට වැඩි ඇති.
Sir 2025 sir.
25 million කියමු. කොටුවේ පර්ච් එකක් 25 million මෙතන 13 million.
13.7.
150ක ඩිස්කවුන්ට් එකක් තියෙනවා.
Have I this is average, but when it comes to actual lot, it's about 30, like 25, 30.
දැන් ලංකාවේ ඕන පුද්ගලයෙක්ට ලංකාවේ පුරවැසියට මේක ඉඩම් ගන්න පුළුවන්ද?
පුළුවන් sir. රුපියල් වලින් ගන්න පුළුවන්.
රුපියල් වලින් ගන්න පුළුවන්.
පුළුවන්. Only for the land purchase they can sell.
ඩොලර් වලින් නෑ මම කියන්නේ මේ මට ගන්න නෙමෙයි මං අහන්නේ මම කොහෙ ගන්නද මෙව්වා. හරි මේ මම අහන්නේ එතකොට දැන් ඔයගේ ඉන්වෙස්ට්මන්ට් එක කීයද ඔරිජිනල් ඉන්වෙස්ට්මන්ට් එක?
$1.4 billion.
$1.4 billion තමයි දැන් $4 billion වෙලා තියෙන්නේ.
Yes.
ඒ ඔක්කොම ඉන්වෙස්ට්මන්ට් එක කරේ චයිනා
හාබර් අපිට ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ
ඉන්වෙස්ට් එන්ජිනියරින් කෝපරේෂන්.
Yes sir.
එතකොට ඒකෙන් තමයි ඕගොල්ලෝ මේ ඕගොල්ලොන්ට ඒක දුන්නාට ආණ්ඩුවට දුන්නා කමිෂන් එකට දෙනවනේ 140 ගානක් නේ.
Yes sir.
ඒවා ඕගොල්ලෝ ලීස් කරලා ඒකෙන් මේ රෙන්ටල් ඉන්කම් එකක් ගන්නවා.
ඔව් සර්.
එතකොට මේ පෝර්ට් සිටි කම්පැනියට මේ ඉන්වෙස්ට්මන්ට් එක ගොඩක් ප්‍රොෆිටබල්ද?
මං හිතන්නේ sir now it's profitable because of the land prices has jack up now it's profitable sir.
දැන් එතකොට ඒගොල්ලෝ මේකෙන් තවදුරටත් ඉන්වෙස්ට්මන්ට්ස් කරනවද?
ඒගොල්ලෝ ඇග්‍රී වෙලා තියෙනවා සර් කරන්න. දැන්ටමත් ඇත්තටම CIFC ගත්තොත් ඒකේ ෂෙයා හෝල්ඩර් කෙනෙක් ඒගොල්ලෝ.
හරි එහෙනම් අපි ඉක්මනට ඉතුරු ටික යන් අනිත් එක ඕකේ රයිට්.
required at the election expenditure bill meeting with the minister.
Please go ahead.
If I'm sorry.
Yeah, make sure that the elections don't get postponed because of that. We want to have the elections next month.
Just before I go on that, the penalties, regulation 31, somebody had raised a question about the commission having the discretion to set the fee. So I think, no, it says may think proper in composition of the offence, 31, but I was heard to say, someone was heard to say that regulations are being made in that effect. So then this regulation should cross-refer that instead of saying...
Yeah, that's we refer that. Yeah.
This has to change. That's what I just wanted to make a note of that. It says commission may think proper in composition of the offence, but it must say but commission has decided in terms of that regulation. That's all I want to say.
Okay, noted. Then this thing about FA and GA, manage the fund of the commission, make investments, operate, maintain bank accounts, etc., and to approve and manage an annual budget for the commission. So that you all are doing.
That we have done.
So you have a budget and that's how you operate.
Yes.
Then GA, to regulate gaming activities within the area of authority of the Colombo Port City and where required to make regulations for the management of such activities.
So we have done the draft. We are going through it. Sir.
What?
Gaming.
පොඩ්ඩක් දැන් මේ ඔබතුමා කියන්නේ ඔය පෝර්ට් සිටි එකේ කැසිනෝ වල රෙගියුලේෂන් ඔබතුමාද හදන්නේ?
අපේ පැත්තෙන් ඩ්‍රාෆ්ට් කරලා තියෙනවා සර්.
Why don't you talk about how it is done?
පොඩ්ඩක් කියන්න. දැන් මෙතන දැන් කැසිනෝ රෙගියුලේෂන් එකක් ගොඩබිමේ කැසිනෝ රෙගියුලේෂන් කරන්න රෙගියුලේටර් කෙනෙක් නැහැ. දැන් අපි අපෙන් ඇවිල්ලා පොඩ්ඩක් කියන්න මම මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ අහනකම් ඉන්න. ගොඩබිමේ මේ කැසිනෝ රෙගියුලේට් කරන්න රෙගියුලේටර් කෙනෙක් නැතුව ලයිසන් දෙන්න කියලා මේ කමිටුවෙන් ඉල්ලුවා. අපි ඒක දුන්නේ නැහැ. අවසානයේදී අපි එකඟ වුණා මුදල් අමාත්‍යාංශය එකඟ වුණා මේ අවුරුද්දේ සැප්තැම්බර් මාසේ 30 වෙනිදා වෙනකොට කැසිනෝ නියාමන කොමිසම ස්ථාපනය කරලා ක්‍රියාත්මක කරනවා කියලා. ඒක මොනිටර් කරන්න අනු කමිටුවක් පත් කළාක් තියෙනවා. දැනටමත් මම හිතන්නේ මේ අද සාකච්ඡා කරන්න හිටිය එන සතියේට පෝස්ට්පෝන් වෙලා තියෙනවා. මේ කොච්චර දුරට ඒක ඉස්සරහට ගිහිලා තියෙනවද කියලා. එතකොට ලංකාවේ කැසිනෝ නියාමනය කරන්න එක නීතියකුත් ඕගොල්ලොන්ගේ කැසිනෝ නියාමනය කරන්න ඕගොල්ලෝ හදන නීතියකුත් තියාගන්න එක හරිද?
Draft regulation we've got from US, and this is what we are trying to do is to localize to the Sri Lankan law. That is what is presently being done. And yes.
No, that's not an acceptable answer, no? Then ඕගොල්ලෝ තනියෙන් ගිහිලා රෙගියුලේටර් කෙනෙක් හදන්න බෑනේ. කවුද ඒතොර රෙගියුලේටර්? ඔය කමිෂන් එකද කැසිනෝ රෙගියුලේට් කරන්නේ?
Act එකේ තියෙන්නේ we can't delegate our authority, sir.
No. Act එකේ තියෙන්නේ
commission.
Yes, commission, sir.
නැති සභාපතිතුමා දැන් ඔබතුමාද කැසිනෝ එකේ රෙගියුලේටර් වෙන්නද කොහොමද?
According to the act, yes.
නෑ මෙහෙමනේ දැන් මට කියන්නකෝ කවුද ප්‍රෙසිඩන්ට්ස් ගන්නෙ? දැන් අපි හිතමු දැන් මම ඒකට එනවා. දැන් කවුරු හරි ලයිසන් එකක් ඉල්ලනවා ඔෆ්ෂෝර් බැංකින් ලයිසන් එකක් ඉල්ලනවා. පොඩක් ඉන්න මේ අධ්‍යක්ෂ ජෙනරාල්තුමා එතකොට කවුරු හරි ඔෆ්ෂෝර් බැංකින් ලයිසන් එකක් ඉල්ලුවොත් ඕගොල්ලෝ සිංගල් වින්ඩෝ එකේ යටතේ ඒක බාර ගන්නවා. බාර අරගෙන ටික කාලෙකින් ඉන් ප්‍රින්සිපල් අප්‍රූවල් එකක් දෙනවා. හැබැයි ඔෆ්ෂෝර් බැංකින් රෙගියුලේට් කරන්න මහ බැංකුවේ මේ රෙගුලේටරි ඩිපාර්ට්මන්ට් එකක් තියෙනවා. එතකොට මට මේක අහන්න තිබිච්ච තව කාරණාවක් තමයි concurrence/approval. එහෙම නැතිනේ. decision කියලා මේ ගැසට් එකේ තියෙනවා. එතන ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ කවුද මූලික නියාමනය කරන්නේ මූලිකව මේ ඔෆ්ෂෝර් බැංකින්? ඔබතුමාද එහෙමත් නැත්නම් මා බැංකුව.
Revan, answer that. Answer
So
that.
the rules for banking and banking specifically under Part 8 of this Act are not yet drafted. We have shared drafts with the central bank, the monetary board, and they are being discussed on how to do the regulatory framework and how to do the monitoring of the financial institutions.
එහෙමනම් අපිට ඇවිල්ලා කියන්න එපා ඕගොල්ලෝ මේ කැසිනෝ රෙගුලේටර් එකක් හදනවා කියලා. මොකද ඕගොල්ලොන්ගේ නෙමෙයි දැන් මට තව එකක් කියන්න සභාපතිතුමා ඇයි concurrence / decision කියලා තියෙන ගැසට් එකේ concurrence කියන්නේ මොකක්ද? කොතනද මොකක්ද section? Section 6 in the Gazette or the Act?
Yeah.
Section 6 number what? මේකේ තියෙන section 6 හරි in the event ඔහොම ගිහිල්ලා together with a letter of approval in principle and terms of regulation 5 to the relevant regulatory authority for its concurrence/decision. So එතන මේ ගැටලුවක් තියෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ concurrence කියන්නේ මට තේරෙන විදිහට නම් මම තීරණයක් ගන්නවා ඊට පස්සේ මම සභාපතිතුමාගෙන් අහනවා ඔබතුමා එකඟද කියලා. එතකොට එතුමා එකඟයි කිව්වොත් concurrence. decision කියන්නේ මම තීරණයක් ගන්නවා සභාපතිතුමාගෙන් අහනවා එතුමාට එකඟ වෙන්න එක මේ අවස්ථාවක් නැහැ. direction කියන එක මට පේන විදිහට hierarchy එකේ උඩ තියෙන එක. direction decision කිව්වහම concurrence එකට වඩා ගැඹුරු දෙයක්. එහෙම නෙමෙයිද? හරි එතකොට concurrence කියන එකයි /decision කියන එකයි මෙතන දාන්නේ ඇයි කියන ප්‍රශ්නේ පැන නගිනවා. ඒත් එක්කම ඔය ඔබතුමිය කියන ප්‍රශ්නේ මෙතනට ලොකු මේ අර්බුදයක් එනවා.
සර් පනතේ හැටියට ගේමින් ඇක්ට් එක එක්සෙම් කරලා තියෙන්නේ. දැන්ට අපේ තියෙන ගේමින් ඇක්ට් එක එක්ස්ටෙම් කරලා තියෙන්නේ පෝට් සිටි කමිෂන් එක. එතකොට අපි තමයි ඒකට රෙගුලේෂන් එකක් දාන්න ඕන සර්.
නෑ ඕගොල්ලෝ කොහොමද ඒකට රෙගුලේෂන් එකක් දාන්නේ?
සර් පනතේ හැටියට එහෙමයි තියෙන්නේ සර්.
ඉතින් එහෙම කරන්න බෑනේ. ඒතකොට ඕගොල්ලෝ එහෙමනම් කැසිනෝ රෙගුලේටර් කෙනෙක් වෙන්න ඕනේ. ඕගොල්ලෝගේ ප්‍රයිමරි ජොබ් එක කැසිනෝ රෙගුලේට් කරන එක නෙමෙයිනේ.
නමුත් ඒ වුණාට සර් පනතේ දීලා තියෙන්නේ එහෙමයි සර්.
නෑ පනතේ තියෙන්නේ දැනට මේ ලංකාවේ තියෙන කැසිනෝ එකක්වත් රෙගුලේට් වෙන්නේ නෑනේ. අද ලංකාවේ මේ
බෙටින් ඇන්ඩ් ගේමින් රෙගුලේෂන්
නෑ ඒව නෑනේ කොහොමද තියෙන්නේ පෙන්නන්න.
Schedule 2.
නෑ මට කියන්න කෝ ගේමින් ඇන්ඩ් බෙටින් රෙගුලේෂන් කෝ රෙගුලේටර් කෙනෙක් කෝ ලංකාවේ ඒක තමයි කියන්නේ රෙගුලේටර් කෙනෙක් නැතුව රෙගුලේට් කරන්න බෑනේ. එතකොට නෑ ඕගොල්ලෝ මෙහෙමයි ඔබතුමා මේක ලේකම්තුමා මේක සීරියස් මැටර් එකක්. හරි ඒකට ඕගොල්ලොන් මේක බාර ගන්නවා කියන්නේ මහා බාරදූර කාර්යයක්. එතකොට කමිෂන් මෙම්බර්ස්ලාට තියෙනවා නම් රෙගියුලේට් කරන්න සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම කොන්කරන්ස් එකක් හරි ඩිසිෂන් එකක් හරි වෙන කාගෙන් හරි ගන්නේ නැතුව මොකද රෙගියුලේටර් කෙනෙක් දැන් නැහැනේ. එතකොට කොන්කරන්ස් ගන්න කෙනෙකුත් නැහැනේ. ඕගොල්ලෝ රෙගුලේෂන් හැදුවොත් ආණ්ඩුව රෙගුලේෂන් හදන්න කලින් කොන්කරන්ස් කෙනෙක් නැහැ රෙගුලේටර් කෙනෙක් නැහැ.
We'll look into that, sir.
Then look into that කියලා හරියන්නේ නැහැ. I mean I think the AG's person went at the wrong time.
We'll have a chat with Attorney General, sir, on that.
Finance Minister එකේ casino regulation කෙනෙක් කවුරු මෙතන ඇවිල්ලා නැහැනේ.
So Chairman, whatever we draft has to go through several lines of approval.
Huh?
Whatever we draft here has to go through several lines of approval before it comes to you. So Finance Ministry actually will address a lot of these issues before they clear anything.
No, I mean this is a special one. No, regulate gaming activities within the port of your authority.
So still is work in progress.
We have. Yeah.
See, my advice to you is don't try to reinvent the wheel, right? Because already under the directions of the president, and he asked us also for assistance in that matter, and we have a subcommittee working on it. The Ministry of Finance has started working on the regulations for casinos and gaming. So why don't you work with them instead of not? Why don't you?
That's fine, sir. That's fine. Totally fine, sir. We can work with them.
So we will direct you. We will direct you to immediately get in touch with the Ministry of Finance and become a part of that team and perhaps become a member of the subcommittee of this group also through the Committee on Public Finance, so that we can have one acceptable piece of legislation.
That's fine, sir.
Yes. Yes.
He's a member of our commission, sir.
Yes, yes. In fact, we told him there is no necessity for him to be present today. He's inundated with a lot of work. The man is working 24/7, so we didn't want to tax him further. Right. Then, so that's resolved then. Huh?
Yes.
So that direction holds. That they will have to work with the Minister of Finance on this one. Then 10 quorum. Audit, now we have discussed. Accountants to the Commission shall be audited annually by qualified auditor in terms of Article 154. All that we have now resolved.
Yes.
Financial statement compliance with international IFRS standard. Commission may delegate such powers, duties, functions under this Act. Commission may either determine either to the Director General or any officer of the Commission or any person holding position responsible employed by the Commission and the Director General. Now, there is no Director General, no?
He's only acting.
Yeah. So when are you planning on recruiting a permanent Director General, Mr. Chairman?
So I think in the first quarter or the second quarter we will actually get somebody appointed. And Mr. Chairman, for the record, the 21 accounts have been audited and cleared by the Auditor General. I'm saying this because we have about 2 million investments in the pipeline, and there was a bit of concern among them also.
Yes.
So I'm reiterating.
I mean, we are very happy. We are extremely happy that we were able to help you, have the website live and also the audit completed within a week. So we are very happy. So it's a win-win. No, it's no problem. You also share this, the fruits of the success, and let us also rejoice. Right. Then in 25, because the issue last time was, Mr. Chairman, you are in charge, not the Director General, right? The powers, duties and functions of the Director General shall be to recommend various things. That's all he has the power to. It is the Commission that formulates these regulations. So that is the reason precisely. So that is the reason that the Commission has to be here. Because the Director General, as ex officio Commission member, he has to be, that's a separate matter. But it is you who's got the authority to do it, not the Director General per se. Application of registration licensing, right? Every application shall specify the total value of the proposed foreign direct investment, all that included in the application form, right? No foreign currency deposits in an account maintained or operated in Sri Lanka can be used, cannot be used. So is that a good thing?
So given the crisis we are in, I think maybe something that we can revisit later.
Fresh infusion of dollars.
I mean, what is your fundamental argument for excluding people, who are big investors, are prohibited from utilizing profits they generate from other business activity, like some of you very successful business people who are sitting in this commission, in investing in the port city.
So that's a policy decision, maybe the investment.
We don't see any issues, sir, but according to the Act, even though we like
Act is,
we need
this was brought in later, no?
Yeah.
In the original Act, there was no such thing. This was brought in to address the crisis.
Yes.
But I don't think you need to legislate something like this, because a crisis, we all hope, is a temporary thing. So why do you find a solution to a crisis and then legislate it as a permanent thing? I mean, why don't you do it off the legislation?
Mr. Chairman, we have done a analysis of the Act also, so that is one of the recommendations that I have in mind.
Oh, what I suggested now?
Yeah.
So we are thinking alike on that one.
So that's,
What do the other commissioners think? I mean, our job is not just to ask you questions and approve this, but also to
Chairman,
constructively bring in our own views. Yes.
I suggest that while we are working, around the Act to make it as best as we could, but the Act also restrains certain ease of doing businesses. So shall we also work separately, changing the Act or improving the Act so that what we are going to bake would be a world-class thing? But every time we bring this up in the Commission, it says, oh, changing the Act will be an impossible thing, it'll have to go to Parliament, and all sorts of stuff comes in. So then we step back and try to work within the Act, but then that's not going to
I endorse Mr. Kodituaku's sort of suggestion. I think it is good because there is no restriction in amending something if it's going to get better, right? If you can make it better.
So
right?
ENY has done it, and they have come up with certain Act amendment points as well. So we'll put this also into that and do a good.
Yeah, but there has to be some logical reason.
Yeah.
Right. Logical reason. So let's do that. We are here to help you, and do call upon us if we can certainly take it up. We can certainly take it up. And anyway, your minister is the president, right?
Yes.
Right. He's inundated with many things. And we can help you resolve this, because I think there are certain amendments that need to be brought into this Act. This Act has certain shortcomings in our view. Right, so that is one. Yeah, because you can't do it, no, it has to be the ministry. Right, so we will make that recommendation. The Commission shall obtain concurrence of any relevant regulatory authority in process of granting such registration, license, authorization, and other approval, where so required by the representative written laws applicable to such authority in respect of the subject vested in or assigned to such authority, and to extent specifically provided for in this Act. So this is the issue. Now in your gazette it says concurrence or direction. So I think this is beyond my sort of authority in this committee, because it is who takes precedence. I don't know why you said concurrence / direction here when it says concurrence here. But if it says concurrence here, it has to be the same thing here. But in any case, this is stronger than this. Your head of legal, what is your position on that?
We are also tying up with other regulatory authorities that are defined in the Act, like the Register of Companies, immigration, emigration. This may be pertaining to that, but let me look at this more closely.
Don't bite more than you can chew. Huh? You can't be the immigration regulator, the casino regulator, the financial regulator. Do you have the capabilities? Do you have the people? Do you have the expertise? How much can you do? You have a voluntary board. You don't have a director general. How many staff do you have?
11.
Huh?
11.
11 people can't do. One person is central bank, the other person is the gaming regulator. Come on, be reasonable. Undertake what you can deliver. Don't undertake things you cannot deliver. So don't overpromise, underpromise. Right? So looks like you all are just saying, give it, we'll do it. But you don't have the capacity.
No, we work with the other regulators.
So that is the point.
Yes.
So other regulators are established by law.
That's right.
And they have been around and have been regulating domestic business for yonks. Right? So it is for you, so who finally gives the license, offshore banking license? Who gives the license?
So, Chairman sir, again, we are not in any way trying to say we are the regulator of everything, right? So specifically for banking, right, the rules and regulations will be proposed and passed in consultation between the Finance Ministry and the Monetary Board, right? So that is as per the Act. We are in consultation with the working committee established by the Monetary Board within the Central Bank, and that's the Deputy Governor is chairperson of that working committee, to look at and devise a structure that actually works to develop a financial center within the Colombo Port City. So that would come in.
No, Mr. Vikramasuriya, that's not my question. My question is who's got the authority under the law? Right, you're exempted from bunch of existing laws, correct? Now, even after those exemptions, now my simple question is an example that, for instance, if somebody wants to have a offshore banking license, you know, who is going to give that license?
The Finance Ministry in consultation with the Monetary Board as per part 7 of the, part 8 of the Act.
Yeah, so that means it is, what is your job? To coordinate.
Coordinate, sir.
Right, but then why are you saying in this gazette you have to get concurrence? Where is that? 6. It doesn't say right? Read that, please.
Do you know?
Because it's the most crucial one.
Chairman, sir, do you mind referring the section, sir?
It is Gazette, Part 1, Section 6. Right, so shall I read it? In the event the applicant requires a regulatory registration, license, authorization, and no other approval from a regulatory authority, okay? In terms of the application, in terms of the applicable written laws, okay? To engage in any business in, to invest in, to reside in, or to be employed in the area of authority of the Colombo Port City, the applicant shall submit the relevant application for such registration, license, authorization, and no other approval as prescribed in the applicable written law to the Commission as a single window investment facilitator. Okay, no? The Commission shall forward the application together with the letter of approval in principle in terms of Regulation 5F to the relevant regulatory authority for its concurrence / decision. So all what you are doing is you're a post box.
Yes.
Right, you just collect it and give it.
Yes.
And the written law has regulations which specifies A, B, C and D. So therefore, you are getting concurrence, meaning for your principal acceptance in principle, approval in principle, but the decision is ultimately theirs.
Yes, yes.
So that is why there is no provision for you to set up a regulatory body. You are only a post office.
We are not going to do that, sir.
You know, in terms of the regulations for the gaming and casinos, you said you all are beginning to draft laws for the gaming regulation. So you can't do that. But it doesn't give you the authority to do that.
Draft regulation, we are reviewing it and then we will submit it to the relevant authority.
Who is the relevant authority?
We work with the Finance Ministry.
Finance Ministry is not the regulator for casinos.
So it is not, there is no regulator yet.
Exactly. So you have no business regulating casino regulations. You have no business doing that.
No, that is not what we are.
Yeah, exactly. So don't, so just
we
let
wouldn't
go.
want to.
Yeah.
We are only drafting it, maybe give the draft, because I think maybe when the act was drafted, there was no gaming regulator even envisaged at that time.
Right,
So maybe
okay.
that's why they exempted it. But we sure don't want to be a regulator. We don't have the capacity.
Law cannot be ad hominem, no.
Yeah.
You know, law cannot be time specific either. Law has to be the same today, tomorrow, and the day after. That is how you build confidence in a legal system.
Absolutely.
Right? And also, the law cannot be like ad hominem, particularly made for a person. So therefore, do what is appropriate. So that's all I have to say here, right? So you are just a post office to get the approval from this thing. It says, to ensure processing of applications made to the Commission is carried out in an expeditious manner, the Commission shall require any relevant regulatory authority to operate an office within the area of authority of the Colombo Port City. Now, who are your main co-conspirators? Wrong word. Collaborators?
Registrar companies is one.
Registrar of companies.
So, do they have an office?
No. They will be given once we set up the office one.
So,
No, sir,
you are not going to set up an office in 5 years?
No, we are already working with them. That is
They
why.
have designated people.
I am asking you what is in the Act.
Yes.
It says
On second
they will operate an office
within the
area of the authority of the Colombo Port City.
That's right.
Right. So, are they operating an office?
We don't have any infrastructure in the port city.
No, man. So, yes, I know
but
that.
they have, sir, designated officers working.
That is how it's supposed to work, no, Mr. Director General. Does it work like that? I mean, why was it put in here?
Chairman, I think what we have done in the ROC is now ROC has gone into an EROC, virtual. So we have now doing a link so that approvals can be done simultaneously for the ROC.
Shall I tell you?
Yeah.
Somebody, I called the Registrar of, what is that, intellectual property, IPR. They wanted a logo. You know how long it has taken now? 14 months.
Yeah. That is why
14 months, huh?
Yes, I agree.
14 months.
That is where we are trying to get that link done so that we can
So
get
actually we are
approvals
investing
virtually
about
overnight.
10 million to develop their system as well.
ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ සිස්ටම් ඩෙවලොප් මෙතන තියෙන්නේ සෙන්ට්‍රල් බැංක් ඔෆිසර් කෙනෙක් ඉන්න එපයි. SEC ඔෆිසර් කෙනෙක් ඉන්න එපයි. ඉන්ෂුරන්ස් බෝඩ් ඔෆිසර් කෙනෙක් රෙගුලේට් ඔය ඔක්කොම රෙගුලේටර්ස් ලාගේ ඔෆිසර් කෙනෙක් ඕගොල්ලන්ගේ තැනක ඉන්න එපයි.
They have for
ඉතින් ඇයි ඒක කරන්නේ නැත්තේ? ලේකම්තුමාගෙන් මම අහන්නේ.
That's what I'm saying.
Infrastructure,
Yes.
they will come and will be housed.
So the infrastructure, Mr. Chairman, is when are you getting the infrastructure?
No, so I think as soon as we are live, we'll get them in. Already customs and all are working with us internally.
I mean, we have
We
provided
already
desk
have a
space.
designated
We have
officer.
provided desk space. When right now it's not relevant for them to sit here because nothing much is happening. But
Physically.
but
It's
we
all-
have created a space for them to come and sit when the operation starts.
Okay. You know better.
That was designed when we were designing the place. We designed spaces for the relevant parties to come. But right now, our issue is the whole. We haven't finalized what we are giving, so we are not getting enough customers coming in at the moment.
Fine, as long as you have a plan so that it won't get unnecessarily delayed. That's the whole point.
Yes.
Then in 35, authorized person permitted to engage in business shall be remunerated in a designated foreign currency other than the Sri Lankan rupee. So what are the designated foreign currencies that persons can be remunerated in?
So that's as per the central bank directions on designated foreign currencies, and they have, I think, about 14 currencies, if I'm not
You
mistaken.
can be paid in any of those currencies.
Pretty much.
The resident exempt from income tax shall be deemed to be permissible credit to a person foreign currency account of such resident employee. So they don't have to pay any tax at all. Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah. So if you are working overseas, right? If you are so resident, non-resident clarification is according to the current laws, or is it special for the port city? How do you become a resident for tax purposes?
Sorry, this the reference to the tax-free status, personal income tax-free status, is an employee of an authorized person. So if an employee of an authorized person, that's a person who receives the license, is paid, and that person would be paid in a designated foreign currency, that income earned is supposedly exempted from income tax as per the CPEC Act.
employment income of a resident employee.
Yeah.
Resident employee.
Residency apply.
Residency so maybe 186 days.
That's correct.
That doesn't apply here because that is for if you're paid in rupees in Sri Lanka. Because in Sri Lanka, you can't be paid in a foreign currency. If I'm an employee, I'm paid in rupees. So if I'm to be non-resident, I must be out of the country for more than 186 days. In the port city, if you are an employee of an authorized person and paid in one of the designated currency, you are exempted from tax.
I don't know, so that's fine. I mean, I see complications arising, but then that's for us to resolve. Because you're living in Dehiwala, you're working inside the port city, your neighbors pay 36% tax.
But
you
that
pay
anomaly
no
will
tax.
be there for that first 5 years till people get in there. But this
I hope
anomaly
the
is there even
government,
in
I
Dubai.
hope you don't let any government organization set up any business there. They will bring all the political catchers and
But this
shove
anomaly
them.
there in Dubai as well, sir. If you are in DIFC, right, and you are working outside, you will have different regulations compared to another Dubai employee. So whenever you have special zone, this problem is there.
Chairman, sir, if I may add, I think. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think if I may add, the objective of the Colombo Port City is not to fill it up with companies that are actually established to do business with the 22 million people in Sri Lanka, right? It is an export-oriented zone that you're looking at. So the idea is to attract people, and the objective is, for example, if a multinational, a shipping multinational or a firm that's based, headquartered in Singapore, right, is doing their regional office and covering business globally, for them to come and establish here. It's not that they come in there and establish themselves there and then start serving the Sri Lankan market.
Of course.
Yeah, so
I mean, we understand that that's a fundamental
Yeah.
basis for doing this, no? I mean, but we would like to have at least some of our people employed there.
absolutely possible. And what we hope to achieve here is our people are now going into Singapore or to Dubai and working for that multinational. But we would like that multinational to be based here and then hire them to work in that and serve their global franchise.
Okay, right. Thank you very much. I think we've had a very fruitful discussion. We have no other questions. And we will approve these regulations so we can, you can, or rather your minister can put it to the House next week and we can approve them. We made some observations. We gave one direction, which is that you should work with the Ministry of Finance on the regulations on casinos. We made some recommendations. We will let you have all those, Mr. Secretary, Mr. Chairman. And I hope this becomes a roaring success. And if there is anything that we can do, we will be more than happy to help you. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
This is adjourned. Thanks.